Let's do a cheers to the Sobeys and Safe Liquid Beer for the podcast.
We ride again.
I love you guys.
Careful, that cake's hot.
Let's do a cheers to the Sobeys and Safe Liquid Beer for the podcast.
We ride again.
I want 2 soft boiled eggs, great toast, and some of that grape jelly now, damn it.
It's the 6 o'clock and check-in. Come on, let's go. It's the AM Nasty Big Hello.
It's not static, AM radio.
Owen! Owen!
It's the Cool Bed Red Hot Nielson Show. Let's go.
Get me a soda with some ice in it.
Everybody's tuning in, even my wife.
Mommy likes too.
I asked for the sausage nuts.
And those
You brought
Macramalla
me the
intros are
unsalted.
cutting like a knife. Hey, it's Mitch texting in. He's your dealer for life.
Damn it.
Let's crack a 6 o'clock and lager with some sirloin bites.
Owen! 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 Get me a soda with some ice in it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, Wednesday. Welcome to the Nielson Show, Edmonton Sports Talk. Lieutenant Eric, YouTube Trev, Jason Milne with you this morning. Jason J, Big J, Dr. J.
Jason J
Jason
is
J.
actually my middle name. Like
J is your
Jason
middle name.
J.
Jason J. Milne, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Nielson Show. Yes, Dustin Nielson is away. He explained yesterday, off to a family vacation, San Diego way. He'll be off for the next week, probably back next Thursday, perhaps on the Wednesday, but we'll see what happens. Until then, it's the Lieutenant, YouTube Trev, and Jason J. Milne with you this morning. 6:05, a little snowy out there, a little slick, sticky, maybe, I guess you could say. -3 overcast, 4 degrees, though, for a high this afternoon, partly sunny skies, so we won't worry about too much. Hey, Jay, it keeps the dust down. That's all that I care about. Keeps the dust down, and I'll take it.
Well, this might be the earliest that Surveyor Brett has got a shout-out on any show. It's mere minutes into the show. And, of course, like so many of us, not me, but so many nasty chatters, EST lovers, listeners was just got a little bit, in love with that nice temperature we were getting and maybe popped those winter tires off.
Oh, you got got.
Yeah,
you got
you
got.
got
The guy across the street, couple doors down, he's mowing the lawn the other day.
Got.
I mean, it's not the end of the world, but we all got. We've been here before, and we're going to act like we haven't, right?
So, you can have, you can blame Surveyor Brett, is all I'm saying. You can go back in the tweets. You can look at the logs. It's all there.
I'll
There's
blame
receipts.
him gladly.
There's
And he'll take
receipts.
it. Well, he keeps them, and he keeps photos of them on his phone. If we could, though, and just to let you know as well, things change when Dustin is away. We're not going to try to do the Nielson Show with Dustin Nielson because he's gone. So it's going to be something different. We're not going to be begging you and haranguing you for likes and everything all day. Although it would be appreciated. You can hear us on YouTube, watch us on YouTube, consume us, of course, on the iHeart and TuneIn apps, and on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Should mention as well, Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen Studio every single day, broadcasting live from it. You can pick up your Popeye's classic chicken sandwich, nuggets, Cajun fries, drinks, whatever you want. Even try the flounder. Fantastic. But for today, it's going to be a little different. It's a weird day as the Oilers are down Arizona way. The Coyotes' final game, final home game, final howl at the mullet tonight. And for the Oilers, playing out the string on a regular season, which now, following last night's results, everything's kind of wrapped up, so much so far as the division goes. The Canucks picking up the win. They get first. Out east, it was quite an evening with lots of chaos happening. All that we need to know and care about, I guess, are the Flyers are out and no Tortorella this postseason, which I think we can all kind of come together and agree on is a good thing. But right now, it's the Golden Knights and the Kings jostling out to see who faces the Oilers in round one, and that will be decided tomorrow night when those two teams play their final games. Vegas at home to the Ducks, the Kings at home to Chicago. But the Oilers tonight down in Arizona, game one of a back-to-back, close out the regular season as they visit the Colorado Avalanche tomorrow. So we'll be having a little bit of fun with that. And I think you too, Trev, you mentioned, I mean, let's just take today to light a candle for the Phoenix, Glendale, Arizona, Tucson Coyotes.
Yeah, this game will be in honor of the Coyotes tonight because that probably is going to be the last time, unless they get relocated back again, which is it is a possibility. We were talking about it on Hello Hockey on Saturday. But as far as this team, this Arizona Coyotes team, they're going to be good as gone. It's crazy to think, and I think it's about time, honestly, personally. It's long overdue.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting. The feel of the game. It's going to be weird to see. Like the fans. Like I was hearing people were paying like absurd, like records in the Mullet Arena. Albeit
those sightlines too, eh?
Like all 5,000 of them?
Yeah, right.
Wow, it's going to be a sellout for sure.
It's going to be, they have to juice up the hot dog price maybe tonight, but it's going to, yeah, it'll be a fun day. Again, day one of the Dustin Nielson week-long San Diego trip, into which we'll be keeping an eye on him and his travels as well. The Jays will be down in San Diego starting a series, I do believe, Friday, and I do believe Nielson and family will be at the Saturday game, although unconfirmed right now. I'll get more details on that as the week rolls on. But, anything you need, let us know. We're here to serve you. And we just want to have a little bit of fun here while Dusty's away. Want to let you know as well, it's the Paris Jewelers inbox. That's where you can text every morning, every show on Edmonton Sports Talk, 780-218-9999.
It's the Bling Box. It's the Bling Box. It's the Paris Jewelers inbox. And they got lots of fancy, shiny things. Look at this, look at that. Not just for the ladies. They got jewelry for men, too. The ring box, the bling box. It's the Paris Jewelers inbox.
Ooh la la. Ooh la la, indeed. We thank Tom for adding his ooh la la on the end of that. But first time you've heard the Paris Jewelers inbox jingle here.
No, it makes me laugh. It's a good one.
It's a great one.
It's a great one. And, speaking of which, it is lighting up. The Paris Jewelers inbox is going strong. The nasty chat's going strong. A lot of sad nasties, just, a lot of
Coyotes.
No, not for the Coyote howl. More so for the fact that they finished their lawn, they got it prepped for spring, and
yes.
But you know what? A little moisture is not the worst.
It's not really.
I saw one comment that said that he accidentally rototilled his front yard instead of power raking it. That's not the worst thing in the world. You're supposed to rototill in the fall. And then let the winter moisture seep into those holes and allow that
the aeration
soil
of the lawn.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Aeration. Yeah.
Because we had this talk yesterday about rototillers, or was it yesterday? A couple days back. I mean, a rototiller, you do this through the garden, right? Like that's not. You don't want to take one to your lawn.
No, I mean it's essentially if controlled, it would be like a really good power rake, though. If you had good, I guess triceps.
Yeah,
you could really lower that thing and dust her off pretty quick. Do we have a flight tracker on the Nielson trip?
I don't even have the number of the plane, but we should get that.
We could get that.
Oh, we get. I'm sure
yeah, absolutely.
Give it to us.
I'm on it.
He likes watching maps. We could watch the map of him watching a map.
Yes.
As he's flying down to San Diego.
What are we really doing here, guys?
I do believe he's flying out 2 days. So, we'll maybe get some information on that. He says here he left me with a bunch of liners. Dusty memorizes the liners, and he left me with this Paris Jewelers inbox liner. Once again, 780-218-9999. Valentine's Day is just around the corner. So a bit of an outdated liner. Thank you very much, Dustin Nielson. He goes, I think everything's fine. I think I got you everything here. And I'm reading the month of February. I'm seeing a January in here. So I'm going to do my best. Of course, we love our sponsors dearly. So much so I can't really express it in great detail on the air. But Paris Jewelers, visit them today. Locations around the country, specifically here in the one that I peruse and check out, and where I gifted my wife a few elements of jewelry at the West Edmonton Mall location. Great staff, great people. Paris Jewelers, check them out today. And get your text into the Paris Jewelers inbox. You could be walking away with $20 to A&W. Did you know, Jay, that A&W has value deals?
I do.
That's right. They have budget-friendly options you can enjoy all day, any day of the week. Try an A&W Buddy Burger today for only $2.79. The value deals are always tasty, never pricey. Visit A&W today, and you can do that today pretty much free of charge if you want by winning that text of the day, $20 to A&W. You send in a funny text, could be a Macramalla intro, our legal analyst, who will join us later on in the show. Could be having something to do with Wednesday, as we have turned to celebrating Throw Mama from a Train for some reason on Wednesdays, just because of
Where is Owen?
the Wednesday incorporation. So maybe it's something regarding that movie, or maybe it's something from the sporting landscape. Jay's NBA play-in, Oilers-Coyotes tonight, or something other. Text in 780-218-9999. You could win that text of the day to A&W, $20, and you could be going there for lunch as early as today. That's how simple it is, and we want to deliver that to you. Just going to go over the show here quickly for you before the morning announcements for 100.3 The Bear. We do have I Says Pardon coming up later on in the opening hour for Lawyer Das Central. I have a pretty big pardon that I had from yesterday, but we'll get to that. I think, Jay, you kind of agreed on it. We'll probably explore that a little further.
Terrible.
It's not an I got beef, but it's close.
It is, I says.
We got beef as a nation here. Jamie McLennan, TSN hockey analyst, courtesy Pro-Am Sports. He'll join us at around 7:05 as per usual. Go over the landscape that is the NHL playoff matchups getting set. Probably get his thoughts too on McDavid getting on that 100 because, you kind of got to get everybody's thoughts on that for the week. Coyotes, that Eastern wildcard race last night as well. We'll hit on that. Also in the second hour, Cool Bet Canada hotline of the day. Jay will give us a little something. You can ride with Jay here over the next little while as he'll lead you to the bank. Follow him. Free advice, DamonBunting.com. You know Damon Bunting personally. This should be a rather interesting segment. Maybe he'll chime in with some advice for you. Maybe you could give some advice to him. It's just an advice orgy.
We can have an advice off.
At 7:30. It'll be advice. If you need advice, advice from Jay for anything, advice from Damon Bunting for anything, text in now and we'll get to it around 7:30. Our legal analyst, Eric Macramalla, will join us as well. Every Wednesday, he'll be brought to you by Park Mazda at around 7:40. Maybe dive into a bit of Coyotes, the latest maybe on Shohei Ohtani, and as well his thoughts on the passing of one O.J. Simpson, as Eric Macramalla, I think, had some fond words for O.J. On Twitter. That's good as well. Brought to you by the Italian Center to round out hour number 2. Hour number 3, kind of easy trivia. 3 questions too many. We do have ESPN's Greg Wyshynski, who'll pop by as well. Heavy hockey show today. He'll be recapping the night it was in the NHL. We'll look forward to some playoff matchups and still something to discuss in the West in terms of seeding between the Golden Knights and Kings as the Oilers do await that opening round opponent. We do have the weekly rankings of power brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club, to which I am letting Jay Milne have his run at the Weekly Rankings of Power, and I'm very, very excited for this. And I don't want to know. I think you led us down a path yesterday via text, to which I bit. I took the bait. But you said it's not that at all? We're kind of...
Well, should I fill everybody in? Do you mind? I mean, not on the grand scheme being of things,
okay.
But just the premise of what happened is, we're going back and forth, spitballing, seeing what sticks against the wall, and Eric's very kind, as we all know, and he said, "You know what, Jay? I'm going to hand you off my weekly rankings of power." And I said, "All right, Lieutenant Eric, I'm going to take that on." So I said, given the fact that the big man's not in the chair, I thought I'd take a run at maybe just announcing my weekly rankings of the best NBA players to ever play the game.
How about that?
And I we were in a group chat, and it did go well. I thought it would have been a little bit, maybe a little boring, but it would have been a great chance for me sitting in this seat to do what we all know I would have had to have done.
You know it's coming here, and it would have been a hell of a play. One to which I never really dreamed or thought of doing. It is #Association City. I mean, we do have
huge night
hardcore
last night.
Basketballites that listen and view every single day. And you're right, on the heels of the play-in and 2 more play-ins to go this evening out east. That wouldn't have been a bad flavor to go with today. But that's not going to be it, is it?
It's not.
Twist.
It's not. We're going to be.
Ooh, what a twist!
Yeah. Just I think in the business they call this a tease.
Tease.
I think we're dropping a tease right now. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be appropriate, given the time that we are in.
Yeah. Time of the show, at 6 o'clock, we can kind of get a little funny, but 8 o'clock, that's the kids are up. And
it will be appropriate for the
PG-13?
time that we are in.
Okay. Man,
Lieutenant
what does
Eric.
that even mean?
I guess you'll have to
Who the
tune
hell
in.
are you? Who the hell are you?
You want to get your? I have the big soundboard of "Throw Mama from a Train" as well. So if you want any of those quotes, but I'm excited about this weekly rankings of power, third hour from Jay Milne and a mystery. But that'll be brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club. That's ahead of the Orange and Blue Breakfast this morning. That'll kind of wrap up the show. Brought to you by Mobile One, as we'll do our best to preview tonight's game, Coyotes and Oilers. 8 o'clock puck drop for this one.
Brutal.
Down at Mullet Arena. I mean, for us, I just speak. Oh, we'll be howling, baby. It's way too late for a game like this. Give me the Avalanche at 8:30, 9 o'clock. I'll take it. But to play out the string on the road, Coyotes 8 o'clock. Now I guess it's the final one, so it is a bit of an event. I mean, you tune in for that. I know who's going to be dropping the puck tonight. Maybe Morello or something like that, or maybe Ryan Smith takes the puck, and takes it to Salt Lake City with him. I don't know.
I mean, let's be honest here. Does anybody have any heartfelt, deep connections to? I mean, unless you're a snowbird, say that would go down and make those trips down and watch the Oilers play in Phoenix while you were down there for your.
You maybe adopt them as a
or at least you have fond memories of the battles between the Coyotes and the Oilers. But I mean, is there? It seems like there's other than that, and other than like Oilers fans packing that arena, whichever arena it may have been over the last dozen years, it doesn't seem like there's that much thrill to the Phoenix Coyotes. Am I wrong?
Well, they had their moments. One could argue there was a Western Conference final appearance.
2012, yeah,
that
way
what it was?
back in
Like the
2012.
ugliest
Yeah.
jerseys ever moment?
The maroon ones with the head?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
The worst.
nasty.
They've had a lot of looks. I'll say this, and I don't mind. I've said this before, but that jumping coyote looks like it's jumping through a fence, like a
Yeah,
barbed
what
wire.
the heck is that about?
I don't mind that one. They never
That's
really wear it.
okay.
It's okay. Like I'll take it. But these Kachina ones, that's
Those
where it's
are,
at.
yeah,
That's where it's at.
absolutely. They're, I'd say, like, as far as emotional ties go, I don't have, like, none with this team. Like, none. And when Tommy and I were getting set for last week when these teams faced off, he's like, okay, what should we do for question of the day? I was like, what are your emotional ties? Or, like, what's your favorite memory of, and we were just talking about it. And we're like, actually, no, that's a terrible question. Because, like, what is there? Like, between the Oilers and the Coyotes, like, they might have that, and they probably do with other teams. But as far as whenever I only watched the Coyotes because when the Oilers played them. And, like, it was never... They were, like, growing up when it was a decade of darkness, it was usually, like, 2-1, like, shootout losses. Like, it was
terrible,
brutal,
yeah.
low-scoring games.
Toby
and,
Reeder.
like, Toby Reeder, yeah. Like, there's nothing there. So, it's just for me, for sure, like, their Kachina, like, I'm going to miss those more than the
solid
team.
look, yeah.
Like, they're so sick.
And I to me, again, like 96, I do believe is the move. Now, I don't know when they were incorporated in the video game. I would assume NHL 97. But it was a good team. They had some great players on those teams. And I remember playing NHL 90s because it's the new team, new jerseys. Like, you don't want to be kind of an older. So I was the Coyotes for a good couple seasons playing NHL 97, and it was great. Oleg Tverdovsky and Kachuk and like the whole bit, and those Kachina jerseys flying up and down the ice.
Shane
Doan,
Doan.
Absolutely. Well, and then looking at today's roster, I mean, Dylan Gunther and Kesselring, formerly of the Oilers organization, like some loose tie-ins, I guess, here to Edmonton in terms of just the hockey ops. But other than that, I don't think it's an organization that really tugs on too many of our heartstrings. But maybe it's just the look and the howl and the corniness that comes all along with it. Have you guys ever been down to a game down there, Arizona way, Phoenix, anything like that? Any of the
Negatory.
No, because I mean it would be one of those, I guess, a destination to go because it's nice. That's Southwest motif. You go down there, hit a couple balls, and go to a hockey game, man.
Nothing wrong with Phoenix.
No, see a lizard.
Yeah, hopefully. That'd be cool. I just want to note, somebody chimed in on the Paris Jewelers inbox, and if you are heading south of the city, apparently there's a massive rollover on
Very good.
on heading south.
Not the
up
rollover,
to
but
the
you
Henday.
talking about it. Yeah, and please do
That's
that this
right.
morning. If you see any of that.
Highway 2 heading south is backed up to the Henday, a rollover on with emergency vehicles on scene. Thanks, Mike, the Michigan fan. So maybe take Highway 60 to get around that if you are heading south out of the city.
You were on the Henday this morning, north.
I was on the north leg.
That was
Winter
okay?
tires
Yeah.
on.
No.
Because I'm old school.
It didn't get you.
Didn't get me.
Didn't get you. Didn't get
bit.
got. No,
Didn't
no,
get got. Maylong? They don't come
That's
off till
just
May
it.
long.
That's just
if
it.
you
Smart man.
are Albertan, Edmontonian, that should just be the rule of thumb.
And you don't need to the May long weekend. I say I just take it to stay at home. You don't make plans. It's just the day off. Don't. I'm going to go camping and it's going to be beautiful and I'm going to get a suntan.
Let's go down to the Red Deer River and go for a float and a camp out. No,
and then
don't do it.
The weather goes.
Who the hell are you?
You know what I mean? That type of thing. I think I got it right. Jen, very good. Paris Jewelers inbox 780-218-9999. You forgot to mention when the word for Vegas was today. Doe, quite right. I'm an idiot. The Vegas keyword 8:20 this morning. So be on your toes at around 8:20. And I do believe the sheet. You got it. Okay.
I got one.
As long as one of us
I
has
got a
it,
sheet.
really don't
I
care.
got a sheet.
May I?
Hide this.
I always like to see what Maddie's got cooking up for
Hey,
us here.
I'll be straight up
okay,
honest
well,
with
that's
you
all
guys.
good.
The last time I was on here with the honor of co-hosting,
Yes.
we were left with nothing. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
We were left with absolutely no music. It's like Dustin put it in his briefcase and just walked out the front door and went to. That was when he was over in calling the Spengler Cup.
Yes, Davos.
And Davos Daddy took everything and left us. So in honor of that, I have this board that is lit up. And I believe, we talked about it earlier, Eric, but I'm going to let you run this one in. I'll just be ready to hit the button.
Conch yourself now. He's got the power.
That was smooth.
For the record, that was not what we talked about, ladies and gentlemen. We do have we have some conscience to get to, absolutely.
Oh, as always, every morning, and text them in 780-218-9999 or in the nasty chat as well. And I must confess, I might not be on them as quite as often as I am hosting the show now, as opposed to doing whatever it is I do normally while Dusty is here. But get it on the nasty chat, conscious. If you see any Jay, just hit the button. Jump right in. I really don't care.
Well,
but
earlier on in the nasty chat, it was glaringly obvious that we need to celebrate what happened here yesterday with.
yes, you're right. But I think first conch to you is fine because you're operating this, and I just want to say
it's a big honor.
You're taking the weekly rankings of power. You're taking the conch, and that's big. But you're right. We shouldn't gloss over what happened yesterday here in this very studio.
It was beautiful to watch. I actually watched it live. And
you wept.
And we were in our front room. My wife and I had put the girls on the bus, and we both sat there still, clutching each other, tearing up. It was very emotional. It was very powerful, and I'm elated that Zacticum has been offered the opportunity to have a full-time job here. I saw YouTube. Trev, do you have anything you want to chime in on there? Because I did see you were part of the paperwork process.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be cool to be EST's second hire ever. Just noted that he is the second. But, yeah, you know what? He's actually a really good kid. And when you saw his reaction, it was so genuine.
It was.
It actually, really made my day. And I think a lot of nasties, and they were saying that early in this morning in the nasty chat, people were just like, wow, oughta be Zach. But he was like, you could tell, Dustin's like, do you want to stay here? He's like, yes, I do. Props to him for saying, so but it wasn't given. He worked his butt off. He didn't complain once. And it was cool. He's never shies away from asking questions. He's always wanting to learn more. So, nothing but huge props to Zacticum. And, yeah, he's staying. And so is the name Zacticum.
I love it, and he's going to be, look out for Zacticum coming soon to a moss pit near you as the playoffs are descending soon, and he'll be out. He'll be a man about town as he was at Nate last year. I do believe he lost a fantasy league, and then he had to go in the moss pit decked out in Kings gear, so I know a lot of you are familiar with him wearing Henderson Silver Knights caps during pregame shows here on the station or whatever it is, but he does it with it's all with a bit of a smile. It's nothing too serious, but he's just having fun. So keep an eye out for Zacticum. I think we'll get him around during the playoffs. And you never know, you might get a tap on the shoulder, turn around, and there he is with an iPhone shoved in your face, asking for a quote or something. So good on Zach, and yeah, let's give him a conch. Actually, and if I'll give him a freaking didgeridoo here. Love you, Zach. And he's in tomorrow as well for YouTube Trev. So that's good. Zach, part of the EST fold as we move forward into the playoffs and the spring and the summer. It's exciting. Very competent guy, technically. That's the thing.
And as the nasty chat would do, they're ripping you,
that's
Trev,
brutal.
because calling him a kid when you yourself are
5 years your
15
senior,
anyways.
right? I mean, he's
He's like 19, 20, huh?
yeah.
Yeah,
You're 25.
Yeah, like I grew up with. Yeah, I can
still
call him
lay
a
down
kid.
jokes and say quotes that you you pick up that he won't have a sniff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a-
Like I feel like I grew up with my grandma and grandpa. I don't know if that, but like they were always. I feel like I'm wise amongst my age group. Like
Old soul.
Yeah, like I'm a little bit. Even though I don't know Uncle Buck and I haven't seen that one, but like the nasty's. I can call him a kid.
I want you and Zach to come together and watch Uncle Buck, a viewing. We can set up some cameras here. The nasties can watch. We can put it on the Discord or the Accord or whatever it is.
Yeah, that might be fun.
It is a beautiful movie, and the Golden Knights hat is being brought up. I mean, I think that was one that
And it is a Golden Knights hat. I kept calling it a Henderson Silver Knights. I always thought it was a silver.
It was worn for those who don't remember. He was part of the pregame show, a game against the Las Vegas Golden Knights, and he decided to show up wearing said Golden Knights hat. May have been one that the old Zachtscom would want to take back, but maybe that's just how the legend grows.
It was funny too because he's like, "Hey man, like, what are your thoughts? Like, I think I'm gonna wear the Vegas Golden Knights hat," and I'm like, "I think that's a good idea. I think everyone will have fun with it." And then he was just getting ripped to shreds by everyone. I told him sorry.
Advice.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, it'll be all good.
I told him sorry after. He's like, "It's okay."
And for those asking, that was not. He did not know that heading into that. I asked that specifically as soon as I came in here because the reaction was quite sincere and quite honest. I said, "Wow, that was well done." And he did not know that. I think he knew that he was well received here, and maybe there was a potential for that. But for it to happen yesterday live on air like that was pretty cool, and it was not a bit by any means. Now we do have Ryan from Saskatchewan in the Paris Jewelers inbox. Hit us up at 218-9999. How about a conch for the Washington Capitals and their minus 37 goal differential, defying the odds?
Yeah.
The Eastern Conference just pissing mediocrity.
Yeah. A full strong stream at that.
Do we want to talk about that a bit right now?
Well, we can get into it. How about you? You got a sports update ready to go?
I do.
You can
know
educate the people, then we'll dive back into that Eastern Conference wildcard chase that you get to play now the President's Trophy. Huzzah! Right?
Oh, the way it all went down was a story that'll be told for years.
A sports update, if we're all ready to go, brought to you by Green Plan. Jay Milne, take it away.
All right, big night in the Eastern Conference of the NHL as the playoffs continue to take form. The Washington Capitals defeated the Philadelphia Flyers 2-1 to secure the NHL's final remaining playoff spot. The win eliminated the Flyers, Detroit Red Wings, and Pittsburgh Penguins from playoff contention. Washington, as Lieutenant Eric said, will face off against the President Trophy-winning New York Rangers in round one. As well, with the victory over the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Florida Panthers clinched first place in the Atlantic Division, which sets up a battle of Florida as they will face the Tampa Bay Lightning in round one. This also means that the Boston Bruins will face the Toronto Maple Leafs in round one. It is booked. Guarantee it. It should be a good one. In the Western Conference, the Canucks lock up first place in the division with a 4-1 win over the Flames, while the Jets earn home ice advantage with a 4-3 victory over the Kraken. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. reached base 4 times and added 2 RBIs as Yusei Kikuchi won his first game for the Blue Jays as they hand the high-powered New York Yankees their first series loss of the season. They finish the series this afternoon as former Blue Jay Marcus Stroman takes to the mound for the Yankees. Also a big night in the NBA as the Lakers edge the Pelicans to set up a first-round date with the Denver Nuggets. That should go well. The play-in tournament continues tonight as the 76ers host the Heat, then the Chicago Bulls play host to the Atlanta Hawks. In other basketball news, former Raptor Kawhi Leonard will fill officially the 12th and final roster spot for the Team USA as they set to prepare for the 2024 Olympics. And another big game in Game 3 of the AJHL Championship went last night as it saw the Calgary Canucks post 17 shots 17 shots and 3 goals in the final frame to come back to win 5-4 over the Whitecourt Wolverines. The wins give the Canucks a 3-0 stranglehold on the series with Game 4 set for tonight in Calgary. This sports update has been brought to you by Green Plan, providing you with award-winning environmental planning and consulting services. Whether it's municipal, industrial, or residential, plan it right with Green Plan. Visit greenplan.com or give them a call at 780-455-4292.
What say you? Hey, nasty crew. We got the Nielson Show flu, and there's nothing we can do about it. What say you? Hey, nasty crew. My wife thinks I got better things to do, but there's nothing I can do about it. We're tuning in, we're listening online. We catch up with the podcast when we fall behind. We're texting in the nasty chat, what's on our mind. 780-218-9999. Number one interference from corporate interest to Tati and Eric and all of the bad cats like Wyshynski and News. Gadget can gauge it. If it's a ball to make a little wager. We can't wait for the Monday mandate. Sharky's always on time. Tommy's always late.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Forget about the old place. Hey, we were number one in the text race. We don't miss all the commercial breaks, but we sure miss Nickelback today. We wanna hear some hot takes and we wanna hear Renee. Why not hold the neck up when I wanna kiss away? Beat up the tire fire and remember that name. We love every goal song, but what about Atlantic Canes? Macramalla, Rapaport, Dragger, Engineer. It ain't Christmas season, but they sound like reindeer. Button and my cousin and the tales of the North. All the program here in person. What say you?
I want my back.
AM Nasty Crew.
I will
We got the Nielson Show flu, and there's nothing we can do about it. And there's nothing we can do about it. And there's nothing we can do about it.
Oh, boy, 634, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. You're listening to The Nielson Show. Lieutenant Eric in for Dustin Nielson. Jay Milne, Glue Guy, YouTube Trev as well, along for the ride. 780-218-9999 is the number to text. Paris Jewelers Inbox. Get in on the nasty chat as well. We are on YouTube every day, broadcasting live throughout the day. We got the Nielson Show Hangout coming up after this. Do got the Lock Shop as well. Oil Stream, 2 guys and a goalie. That differentiates between the days as well during the week. So if you are just joining us, welcome in. Hit the like on YouTube and give us a sub as well. Again, we're not going to be canvassing so much for the likes. We are going to say, and we talked about this off air, we're going to choose a day while Dusty's gone, and we're really going to get the likes out. We're going to get the likes out. If you're not doing the like game regularly, or you're like, oh, they're telling me to do something, I don't want to do it. We're just going to pick one day where we're just really going to go after it, and we're going to see how high we can climb. And when Dusty gets back, he'll be like, how did you get? And we'll say, hey, look at this. And I think it's something that we can all collectively get behind and do to prove to Dusty that we can all do this without him sometimes.
What about if we predetermine it?
Sure, let's set a plan.
Then everybody has something to look forward to.
Let's set a
plan.
Come
together, because
you can start. You can sign up to 20 different more accounts. So you can more likes.
Yeah,
multiple accounts.
I would say either Monday or Tuesday of next week, because either of those mornings we don't know yet, but there's speculation that it might be Tuesday morning is the morning after the first Oilers playoff game,
or Monday might be after the Sunday, or
we don't know yet. I think that would be, if we're hunting likes, I think that's the day to do it.
Not on a day when it's the Coyotes down in Arizona, 8:00 puck drop. That's really good. You've got the tone
I've got
down.
It down well.
Is that by living out in the? Because you are
growing up with them,
Did you grow up on a farm?
No, an acreage.
Okay,
Yeah.
So you're not a city guy.
No,
but you're not a farm guy.
Yeah, I'm a funny farm guy now.
Funny farm
Funny
guy?
farm.
Please explain.
Yeah, well, funny farm is what, you'd call it. We have, we're just, out by our Drawson.
Okay.
And we have some horses and some ponies and a miniature donkey, some ducks, some goats.
Okay.
A couple dogs, 3 cats.
Sounds very pleasant.
Funny farm. It's great. My wife grew up on, a sheep farm, so that's where that whole side of things comes. But I've always said, and I always will say, I'll defend it for the rest of my life, that it's just good to have my 3 daughters around animals, livestock with responsibilities, et cetera, et cetera.
You've got it made. Do you take
the
like
shade.
are you open to the public? Can I go there? Like, can I show up and be like, hello, one please, and then you take me through and I get the tour and I pet a duck and
We'll give you half price. So instead of
Damn it,
$29.99 for the all day pass at the Millen Ranch, it's $14.98
and a free ice cream.
Well, we'll talk. I got to talk to my wife about that.
We did have a Edmontonian in Ontario texts and boys down in Arizona for spring training a few years ago at box office buying Coyote versus Anaheim tickets, approached by staffer with a special offer. $120 for VIP seats, including unlimited alcohol, food, and seat service. And that comes in from the Edmontonian in Ontario. It's almost as good as the deal you just gave me for the Funny Farm.
Well,
Might take it.
that deal's, it does have a timestamp on it. So
Unlimited alcohol as
don't
well?
wait. Yeah, there is a keg fridge
Fix
out
that
there.
into the, why not? 702-298-9999 or in the nasty chat. Hey, LTE, how the Roughies look this year? I'll assume you're talking about the Rough Riders, to which Roughies, I'm not getting what you're putting down there. Maybe a bit of a troll at me, which is fine. But no, we will not be talking CFL ball. We will not be talking Premier League soccer, nor Champions League, nor Europa League, nor La Liga, nor Serie A, nor Bundesliga. Nothing like that. I know you see me here and you're like, oh, this is going to be all hockey. It's all Oilers, all hockey. I am not going to succumb to any of the other fringe sports and all these little things you're trying to get me to goading me into talking to. So, no, this is hockey. We got Oilers game today. We got Oilers game tomorrow. We got a Friday beer of the week coming up as well. Joaquin Gage will be in Friday.
Joaquin's in Friday.
You're in these next 2 days. You're in next week as well for a few? Or
Tuesday.
Just Tuesday.
Yeah, and then I believe Dusty's back Wednesday.
Could be Wednesday, could be Thursday.
Could be Thursday.
He's
hey, I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Somebody asked earlier how the Yvonne's Furniture closeout sale went. It went well. We are now closed.
You're all cleaned out. Building's gone. You've given away the keys.
Keys are back. Yeah, keys are returned. We are now cleaning out our warehouse, and it's good. I'm gonna be doing a lot of things around the house this summer, I believe.
Well, sure. Your wife has no issue with that, eh? I mean, that's
not at all. That started yesterday. Yeah,
started yesterday.
Yeah,
Day one, back on the
we
job.
got after it. Yeah.
I know you had your sports update, but just to go around the NHL quickly from last night, the Canucks obviously sewing up the division 4-1 over the Flames. I don't think a lot of people, I don't know. That was kind of done, but that's all said and done now. It's all good. We know where the Oilers will finish, and it's just to determine which opponent it will be. The Golden Knights having a say in that conversation, defeating Chicago last night 3-1. And as it stands this morning, Golden Knights 81 games played, 98 points. Kings 81 games played, 97 points. And once again, those two teams in action tomorrow. But as it stands, the Oilers would host the Golden Knights for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Also last night, and we mentioned out east, it was something. Capitals over the Flyers 2-1. Capitals securing the win with an empty netter, while the Red Wings would go on as well to win in a shootout. But it wouldn't matter because Washington just needed a win, and they were in. And they got it. The Flyers also needed to win, so they needed to pull out the stops, and you get this kind of crazy finish. But the Capitals with their paltry goal differential will be stacked up against the Rangers round 1. And the Leafs falling to the Panthers 5-2, which means the Leafs now draw the Bruins in the opening round, a team which I don't think they've beaten in the playoffs since the 50s or something like that. I don't know, pick your poison again for the Leafs, whether it's the Panthers, the Bruins, or whomever.
I'm excited to talk to Wyshynski about that series. I really think that, I was looking at a couple blogs that he's written, and the anticipation for this series is, I think, one of the highest going into the playoffs of any series, obviously outside of Edmonton. But, the Bruins, Leafs, for us Westerners, of course, we'd love to see the Leafs bounced by anybody.
Sure.
But the Bruins, who has the edge? I don't know. That's a great question.
Well, the Bruins last year, too, especially being bounced from the regular season that they had. And I mean, look, however much you want to use that as a motivation, but I just think the Leafs can't get out of their own way. And I just think I don't think any matchup, whether it's the Florida Panthers, whether it's the Boston Bruins, whomever, I'm just looking forward to another opening round, or say they get to the, I really don't care. They're not going to be making too much noise in the East when all things are said and done. They can't be.
Well, and we did briefly touch on it, what happened in Philadelphia last night. For those that don't know the exact breakdown of what happened, the Philadelphia Flyers had a chance to go through. The Detroit Red Wings had a chance to go through. All that Philadelphia needed was to win in regulation with a Red Wings loss, I believe was how it went. And so there's a minute left in their game. They're tied against the Washington Capitals. They pull the net because they think they had to win in regulation. Turns out they didn't have to, because a minute earlier Detroit had scored to tie up their game. So the Philadelphia Flyers could have won in overtime. They could have won anyway, and they would have been in the playoffs. Instead, they pull their goalie, thinking they had to win in regulation.
Yeah.
Washington pots an empty netter. Washington is now in the playoffs. Philadelphia's bounced. Detroit's bounced. Just a crazy timeline of events. And I think it came down to like a minute apart.
I want the 30 for 30. And
Yeah.
I want every frame to be like, and at this minute, this second, and then you show the video. And
Like, somebody on that bench should have had an earpiece in telling Torts what was going on. That was not the case. I don't think there's too many bleeding hearts out there for Torts either way. But Trev, what's your thoughts on that? That's
It was
crazy.
awesome. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. I've never seen anything like it. And like just hearing Torts from doing pregame this year, he'd always say, he's like, we're not worried about any other team but the Flyers. Like, we don't care what the other teams are doing. But it's like, well, maybe you should start looking out in the rest of the league, because, yeah, like, that's total, like, you need to be aware of the situation that's going on. And if one person, was notified, like, that, it's a totally different, it's a game changer, right? So, personally, I'm not a Flyers fan. Can't stand Torts. I think it was awesome. I feel bad for Detroit, though, because, like, they were in it.
it was a good story to follow too with the Octopi the other night. And
Yeah,
everything.
absolutely. Like to come back, so it was crazy. But like, I've never seen anything like that. It was insane. It really was.
Just, yeah, absolutely bonkers.
I was here for the Crosby story. I was for the Penguins. I wasn't here for the. I think for the Flyers too in the season that it was them sticking around as long as they did in that 3 spot. I mean, the start to the season they had and then just continued from there. But I don't think they were expected to be even flirting with this type of position. So they're kind of where they should be. As I said, I had some time for Crosby dragging the Penguins back into the fight, and the Red Wings were just. I think over the past week or so, everybody was just kind of like, cool, let's see this, because you got Patrick Kane on there riding, and then you got a bunch of these young guys kind of making their own, and a market like Detroit, with all the success that they've traditionally had, you kind of go, this is reminding you of kind of the 90s or something like that all over again, but certainly in the fashion, these past 2 nights that they've gone and kind of survived. And again, the octopus flying, I just thought that was a great story in its own, but it's the Capitals and their minus 37 goal differential led by Ovi, who secure that final wild card spot, and whether or not it means anything moving forward, we shall see. I do get that sense, though. It's always that the team, everybody counts out, and then the team that win the President's Trophy, well, who's to say in the opening round that they can't take you in 5 or something? I'm not calling that this morning, but it's always those things where you have that huge favorite, the plucky underdog. And then the NHL sometimes, and we know that for sure in this market, it's happened a few times, right? So, eight
seeds have gone on to do big things. I mean, Oilers fans know all about
beauty
that.
of the postseason.
And Stauffer for Premier in the nasty chat. I may have got a few X's and O's incorrect in that story, but the premise was there was a lot of moving parts going on that is quite hard to comprehend, to be honest. It was just one of those things that it was so rare as to what happened and what needed to happen, and
it came
and
down
the
to
fallout.
the minutes. Yeah.
It came out to a lack of, from what I understand, a lack of communication on the bench. And Jasmine in the Paris Jewelers inbox. What about the association? Zion gets injured when it counts. Lakers pull out a win. Sacramento Kings dominate the Warriors. I agree. The Golden State Warriors, as we all affectionately know them as the dynasty, it's over. Yeah. It's done.
Steph was crying that other game when Draymond got, kicked out again or whatever, and what he had like tears. Like that was, to me, that was the moment. The Golden State Warriors have expired.
Well, you could maybe expect that, you'd have a Klay Thompson playoff performance. You know how many points Klay Thompson scored? I believe it was 0. If that's a guy that's coming off, in days of old, he would have pouring in, 6 or 7,
32 minutes,
threes.
4 boards, and an assist.
That's Klay Thompson.
And 0 points.
And Zion the Pelicans. If Zion Williams stays in that game, the Pelicans beat the Lakers. There's no question. That game was definitely trending towards the Pelicans. Zion Williams gets injured again. Now it's going to be
But they don't get the Nuggets.
Nuggets. So it's going to be down to Sacramento and the Pelicans on Thursday night. I think this comes down to it looked from the Zion's injury. It looked as though it's something that he knows about, that maybe has had happen to him. So maybe it might be more serious than what they're saying. But
there's always that conspiratorial view, though, that it's like just avoiding the Nuggets, and that was the whole story going into last night's game. Whether or not, I mean. But whatever happened last night, results-wise, you're always going to think back to that. Ooh, who didn't? Oh, you lost, did you?
But I wouldn't want to go face the Kings right now either. They're
I have time for the Sacramento Kings and following them this season, and it's a great story, especially with that franchise. But Kings Pelicans on Friday, out east tonight. It's Miami visiting Philly, 5:00, 7:30 tip-off. We'll see the Hawks and the Bulls. That's pretty much a pick-em. Not too concerned about the East. I'm more kind of focused on that Western conference race. But Lakers and Nuggets now, it really is a shame that Dusty isn't here to kind of gloat about that. And also...
he would have absolutely...
Well, gloating and be fearing of the Nuggets as well on the horizon.
Chicago. He would have absolutely taken this as a W. They were getting beat. They had no business in that game.
He takes it all as a W.
Yeah. And I mean, I did see some tweets from him last night. He was a little bit actually realistic for once in his Lakers perspective.
He can be.
He can be, which was nice. It was heartwarming, but
a refreshing tone. Yeah.
Refreshing tone, yes. But no, it was. It wasn't even. It wouldn't even been close. Zion was dominating that game. But I digress. I think that's too much association for one show. No.
Well, with Dusty not here again, as we'll try to keep this down the fairway and stick to the hockey. Jays as well, though, and you mentioned in the sports update as well. Getting another one over the Yankees last night. Another good pitching performance. Yusei Kikuchi on the mound. Following up the Chris Bassett performance from the night prior. That series winds up later this afternoon. Yes, 1:07 first pitch this afternoon. Jays will look for the series sweep of the Yankees before they depart to San Diego. 10-8 now, your Toronto Blue Jays sitting third in the AL East. So we'll keep an eye on that. I know whenever the Yankees are getting beat, I like to kind of think of Iwannik squirming in his 30th floor fellatio suite. Or whatever he calls it down there, but it's always you got it's a 6:00 hour, but 6:49 here. We're gonna get into right now, and I want to get into this. I want to make sure we hit it here. I says pardon. It's brought to you by lawyer-central.com. And if you'll bear with me, get a clean slate for an affordable rate. That's the rhyme. That's the phrase. Everybody makes stupid mistakes. If you are still paying for one, you don't have to. Visit www.lawyer-central.com/pardons or give them a call 1-888-288-8177 to find out more about getting a pardon. They have lawyers across the country. So for wherever you're listening this morning, check them out. Lawyer-central.com 1-888-288-8177 if anything's preventing you from getting where you need to go. But I says pardon. I am going to that Canada Olympic. What are we calling it? A kit? Jersey reveal? I don't know what they call them. I guess you can call them a lot of things. I was just, all I keep thinking of is Richard Simmons in that bodysuit that he wears. You know, he wears that spandex suit with all your organs outside. It's exactly what it looks like to me. Lululemon releasing their Olympic, again, kits, jerseys, whatever you want to call them. But if you saw some of this, I mean, there are a few uniforms that look like raw meat, Jay. Yeah, there. Thank you very much.
It's questionable. It reminds me of when Lady Gaga came on. I forget what red carpet it was, dressed in meat.
Yes.
Do you remember that? And this just screams, "I want a steak." I can't look at this and not want to eat a
blue rare,
nice blue rare, maybe a rare steak. I don't know what to think. I don't understand.
Well,
why can't there just be normal sporting outfits? Like, why do you have to go to the level? I guess it's, hey, oh my gosh, I just had a newsflash.
Uh-oh.
It's because people like us talk about it.
Yeah, well, we're
proving
the point. Advertising works. But I just, what would you, again, we can always come on and complain about things, which is a key cog in sports talk radio. But again, looking at these to the eye, I just kind of get, it winces. And I try to take the positive route, and they're trying, and it's something new, it's something fresh. Maybe it translates with the youth of today. I don't know. But what the next question is, what would I have done better? What would you, if you're designing a Canadian Olympic uniform, whether it's, a Paralympic track and field, swimming bobs. I don't know. I don't care what the sport, because there's obviously a variety of wears and styles here. But are you just going with like a simple red and a maple leaf? Like, are you keeping it simple? Are you taking this to somewhere else where Lululemon could go?
You alluded to it earlier, but I'm going to talk to the owners of Roots and saying, let's figure out a kit that's
Bringing back
Canadian.
the caps. Yeah.
Just give me a Roots toque. Remember those Roots gloves? Everybody wore the red Roots mitts with the white. That was cool. I mean, it's just
the Hudson Bay look. Did they have a
Hudson Bay? Yeah, they always do a nice tie-in with the Olympics, but yeah, I don't know. It's just it's so strange. I think that's just the world we live in. The weirder, the more clicks it gets, the more attention it surrounds it. I don't know what those are. Those are not. I mean, and these are like, what's this? What's a ski outfit gonna look like?
Well, that's like, some of them are more easy to digest, pun intended. But I just there's the one where it's kind of the white and the red, and it's all just lines. I mean, that blends in, and it really looks like some pate, if you will. Andrea chimes in, OMG, the Team Canada gear is yucky. Jeffy follows that up with, doesn't this happen every Olympics? We see them and say, oh, those look goofy, then we don't care ever again, even during the Olympics. Totally, I agree, Jeffy. But we have to do this. It's a tradition unlike any other. Whenever there's a new thread uniform dropped in any sport or anything, we have to say, oh my God, this is ugly, this is gross. What would I do better? Probably nothing, but I hate this. And then you're right. Once the sport gets going, we'll get used to it. We'll get used to it, and then in a few years' time, they'll unveil something else. They'll say, can't we get that raw meat look that Lululemon was rolling out a few years back, eh? All that success.
I don't know if we're going to be begging for the raw meat look. YTT, why don't you chime in?
Yeah, I couldn't. I was trying to grab the photo. It wouldn't. That's a first. It wouldn't let me bring it on the stream here. But that's the first time I saw it. Yeah, you guys.
Yeah, your initial
nailed
thought,
it on the head. What the heck is this?
This is
brutal.
This is hot off the press.
Like, we're talking Canada here, and this is what
like
Canada's going to be. And welcome Canada. They're going to come out looking like this. What are we talking about? This is brutal. Like, I don't want to be associated with this. Like, with meat, with I don't know. This is ridiculous. I'm kind of lost for words.
This is at Harris, where
what the heck is
beef
this?
pate is quite appropriate.
They might get mistaken.
They might get
Somebody
hungry.
might start putting some mustard on you.
They might put a fork in you.
Sure, why not? But you know what, boys? Christmas is coming, and if you're looking for a gift for old LTE, I wouldn't mind that full meat suit.
You would
the
own
pants,
that.
The pants and the top, the full thing.
Actually, you'd have to wear it with the look you've got going on right now with the enchanté mustache.
Actually,
and
you could.
The hair.
You might confuse me for an Olympiad.
Atif is concerned. Atif on the Nasty Chat has thought that your hair is gone. It's missing. What happened?
No, didn't cut it. Just tied it back there. Atif, your glasses are not leading you astray.
Samson is not shorn his locks. He is still here.
Like, when I'm a grandpa, and, my kids are going to be like, oh, like, tell me about, my grandkids are going to be like, tell me about the 2028 or whatever Olympics. Like, well, what's this all about? I'm going to be like, I have no idea. I don't know what we were thinking. I don't know what we were doing, but that's what we, that's the best thing, I guess, we come out.
It's on you and your stinking generation.
Yeah, he's going to be like, so I don't know what I'm going to have to say, but yeah, it's brutal.
This unsigned text, USA and France aren't much better. I'm not assuming that there's a lot of good looks. I bet you the best look is probably from like a Burkina Faso or something, right? Like some country that you wouldn't expect, and here they are, and they get introduced, they're paraded out. There's 5 total athletes, and they just, wow, that's a pretty clean look. But you don't see them again for any event. It's always the big countries that have all these bad looks. But no, that was I says pardon, because I saw those uniforms yesterday, and it made me say, pardon?
I agree.
Leaned right into it.
I agree. That's definitely a pardon phrase. Sickler joins in here, and he says, up until this point, Lululemon has absolutely nailed the Canadian outfits for Pan Am Games and Olympic stuff. Hudson's Bay was outdated in time to go, but Lululemon has been great up until this point.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll and again, maybe this is a look that we'll relax in time and we just kind of get used to and just fade into. And if that's the case as well, I'm all for it. But
I mean, who doesn't like Lululemon?
I'm wearing them right now. Like my pants.
I didn't mean that way.
Yeah.
But
sorry.
let's see.
And you look
stand
great.
Up. Stand up, turn around. Let's
Do
see.
the full 360.
Let's see. Come on, put the
please.
camera on you. Put the camera on you.
Let's get this style here. Yeah.
Oh, those are nice.
Oh, I dropped my pen. Can you?
Here's my phone.
Here you go. Hey.
Oh, man.
Very nice. No, I mean it's like it's breathable. It's workable gear, right? But I just I don't know. The red and the white. It's just that.
Sorry, I didn't know you were ripping on them. And I'm like, yeah, I wear them.
Well, I maybe didn't mean it in that context, but it's all good. You know, I like how they look on you. They look great. Your bum looked great.
Yeah. Tube Socks says
buddy.
Lululemon can make men's clothes. I beg to differ. Tube Socks says in-house model here.
You just didn't see what we saw.
You proved that wrong. Yeah, I'll say that.
That was a show.
78 and a free one at that. 780-218-9999 or in the nasty chat this morning. Lieutenant Eric, Glue Guy Jay Milne, YouTube Trev behind the monitors. We got a great couple more hours to come. Once again, and I think is the refrain in the nasty chat as well. We're just waiting for the playoffs. Like we're just waiting for the playoffs tonight. Again, it's the Coyotes' final howl. The Oilers will be there, which has got us something to kind of look forward to tonight. And the Avalanche to round out the regular season tomorrow on the road prior to the Oilers in the playoffs. And we still don't know who that opening round opponent will be between the Vegas Golden Knights and LA Kings. But we'll have more on that and the full NHL picture coming up next. We'll be joined by TSN's Jamie McLennan. He is our Wednesday hockey analyst. He'll be by talking everything that happened on the ice from last night, perhaps a few things off the ice. The Sabres moving in yet another new direction. We'll see if this one leads to some form of success, or however they define success out Buffalo way. But we'll get more on Granado's dismissal yesterday as well. Oilers-Coyotes tonight, and that Eastern wild card race chase ending last night. Lieutenant Eric, Glue Guy Jay Milne, YouTube Trev. We are here in the Popeyes, Louisiana kitchen studio. Get in that Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. You're running the shots. You're calling the shots this week. Whatever you want to talk about, wherever you want to go, we will take you there as best as we can. 780-218-9999, Paris Jewelers inbox, or in the nasty chat as well. Let's hit a sports update with Jay Milne, brought to you by Century Casino. And Jamie McLennan coming up after that. We also got the Cool by Canada hotline of the day. Free advice for DamonBunting.com. Legal analyst Eric Macramalla. And that's good from Italian Center to round out hour two. But a sports update from Century Casino.
Big night in the Eastern Conference of the NHL as the playoffs continue to take form. The Washington Capitals defeated the Philadelphia Flyers 2-1 to secure the NHL's final remaining playoff spot. The win eliminated the Flyers, Red Wings, and the Pittsburgh Penguins from playoff contention. Washington will face off against the President's Trophy winning New York Rangers in round one. As well, with the victory over the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Florida Panthers clinched first place in the Atlantic Division, which sets up a battle of Florida as they will face the Tampa Bay Lightning in round one. This also means that we get a doozy. Boston Bruins will face the Toronto Maple Leafs. Lock it in. This should be a good one in round one. In the Western Conference, the Canucks lock up first place in the division with a 4-1 win over the Flames, while the Jets earn home ice advantage with a 4-3 victory over the Kraken. They'll face the Colorado Avalanche in round one. In the major leagues of baseball, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. reached base 4 times and added 2 ribbies as Yusei Kikuchi won his first game for the Blue Jays as they hand the high-powered New York Yankees their first series loss of the season. They finished the series this afternoon as former Blue Jay Marcus Stroman takes to the mound for the Yankees. Kevin Gausman is scheduled for the Jays. Also a big night in the NBA. The Lakers edged the Pelicans. The Kings destroyed the Warriors to set up. Now that'll set up a Lakers-Denver Nuggets first round playoff matchup. The play-in tournament continues tonight as the Philadelphia 76ers host the Heat and the Chicago Bulls play host to the Atlanta Hawks. In other basketball news, former Raptor Kawhi Leonard will fill the 12th and final roster spot for Team USA as they set for the 2024 Paris Olympics, of which we just alluded to. Game 3 of the AJHL Championship went last night, where it saw the Calgary Canucks post 17 shots and 3 goals in the final period as they come back to win 5-4 over the Whitecourt Wolverines. This win gives the Canucks a 3-0 stranglehold on the series, with Game 4 set for tonight in Calgary. This sports update has been brought to you by the Sports Bar and Lounge at Century Casino on Fort Road. Your home for the Oilers' playoff push to the postseason. Catch all the action at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge.
Maybe we
Just don't be long, I say we set it on fire. Maybe we just don't belong, I say we set it on fire. She found the piece to the puzzle that was missing. A picture with a filter, now she's hoping and she's wishing.
7:02.
Touching and touching leads to kissing. Mama taught her not to talk to strangers, but she wouldn't listen.
7:02 Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, on the iHeart and TuneIn radio apps, and on YouTube this morning. As YouTube chef's gonna go get a slurp. Got the coffee brewing in here. Smells delicious. We are ready to go. Hour 1 behind us. Hour 2 on the way. As mentioned, TSN's Jamie McLennan just warming up. We'll get some free advice from Damon Bunting, Coolbet Canada Hotline, courtesy Jay Milne, who is joining me this morning. And we do have legal analyst Eric Macramalla, and that's good, all in hour number 2. Jam-packed show, hockey heavy as well, as we will be over the next little while. Obviously, with the regular season coming to a close for the Oilers over the next few days, we'll start transitioning from that into more of a playoff mode, getting set as the weekend will approach, and full gusto into the postseason come Sunday, Monday, or whenever that opening round series will begin. But we appreciate your thoughts this morning as well, 780-218-9999. Wherever you want to take this thing, let's go. I know somebody in the Nasty Chat mentioned we are all waiting patiently for the playoffs. Some of you waiting not so patiently, a little more impatient, but that's fine too. Can't fault you for that. We're kind of all waiting for this string to end on the regular season. But 780-218-9999 if you'd like to discuss anything else regarding the NHL, the Oilers, or this the playoffs approaching, or anything else in the world of sports, please chime in. Or if you have any questions as well for our hockey analyst, Jamie McLennan, who'll be joining us in a matter of minutes, please send those through, and we'll do our best to get them to him. Just on the Lululemon talk as well, Tube Socks. Yeah, he's not on the Lululemon with the men's clothing, but YouTube Trev proved that wrong earlier as well. Jason Milne with us as well, YouTube Trev behind the monitors, and Lieutenant Eric filling in for Dustin Nielson, who is off for the week. He'll be back next Wednesday or Thursday, most likely Thursday, as he is enjoying some time off with his family, as is required and is fully deserved for one Dustin Nielson down San Diego. They'll be going to Legoland, the marina, I guess, where they keep all the animals that live in the sea, right? You can go there, you can watch them splash and all that stuff, and a ball game or two, and probably some good eating. So we'll have all of that. Noodles still waiting for his...
We have no sign of Noodles.
No. Well, we'll keep waiting for Noodles. Jay, hour number 2, hour 1's behind you. Feeling good here?
Feeling randy.
Feeling randy?
Feeling good.
Paris Jewelers inbox going. Stair Farmer checks in. Good morning and have a great show. Thank you very much, Stair Farmer. Dolphins Nation, no Dusty. Let's talk Champions League. Not a chance. I know you're trying to bait me there. We won't be doing that this morning, but trying to keep people listening, not turning them away. But yeah, hammer the like as well. As I said, this isn't the big campaign where we're looking to get 600 every day, but hammer the like, show us some love. It helps the algorithm. Hit the sub button as well. Subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see what we can do. Obviously, we mentioned earlier, too, we're going to pick a day, probably next week. We're going to have the big like show. We're really going to try to blast this thing out of the water and really amaze Dusty while he's away and hit that like button to eternity. But right now, joined by TSN hockey analyst Jamie McLennan, brought to you, as always, by Pro-Am Sports, your locally owned sports memorabilia and apparel specialists. You can find them just north of the Yellowhead on St. Albert Trail at 128th Ave, or visit them online at proamsports.ca. Like you, they are sports nerds and AM nasties too. Noodles, nice to see you again, man. Thanks for joining us, and thank you for your time this morning. We'll get right into it, and I just wanted your thoughts because as we have you guys just once a week, things can change in a week. And if you just want to chime in and get on the record, your thoughts on McDavid hitting that 100-assist mark the other night.
Very impressive. I mean, I was watching the game, and I was calling a game that night in New York, and then I rushed back to my hotel room and was watching it and got an opportunity to, I missed the first period, and I was like, okay, scores early on, and you go back and watch that, and then the Oilers keep scoring, but he's not involved. And I keep thinking, okay, like at some point, maybe if Knobloch's going to sit him down or maybe, pull his ice time back a little bit just to avoid injury or further injury. But I'm like, he's got to get that assist. And when they made the goaltender change, to me, it was a foregone conclusion. The minute he got the assist, it was almost like a giant. You never see emotion out of him, and it was like a giant weight off his back. He had this big smile on the bench, and I was like, okay, he's done. You don't need to play him anymore the rest of that night. But it was a great feeling. I think it's nice to witness history. 100 assists, only the fourth guy to do it. You could see how humbled he was, even in his post-game media, even his walk-off with Gene Principe. You could tell how excited he was. So it was really cool to watch live.
Well, the humbleness, and you mentioned, I think Hyman had to kind of goad him to go down the bench and get the high five. He didn't even want to do that at the point the score was so lopsided. And then he even gave a wave on the bench. The camera had him, and he put his hand up. So for Connor McDavid, I mean, that's a lot of emotion and showing, and as he should. You mentioned, I mean, that's a mark that not a lot of people have reached and celebrate accordingly. But for the Oilers tonight, Noodles down Arizona way. It's the final howl for the Canucks. Our co-host this morning, Jay Milne, can do a pretty good. I mean, he's good. He's working on it. But,
losing it.
The last howl tonight down in Arizona. Not so much focusing on the game this morning. We are here. But do you have any other memories that you'd like to share from your time? Not necessarily maybe Mullet Arena, but anywhere in that great state of hockey, Phoenix, wherever. Your thoughts, your time down there, whether be it as an analyst or otherwise a fan.
Well, I mean, honestly, I'm bullish on this too. I think hockey is going to go right back to Arizona once they sort out the Salt Lake City situation. Now, I played in Salt Lake City in the IHL, and I've got a long history there with that city too. I think it's going to work. I've been doing some research on it. I have a buddy who married a girl from there, so he's talked about the population growing. So I'll go back to my Arizona memories. When I was with the St. Louis Blues in the late 90s, we were a pretty good team. And we had an unbelievable battle with the Phoenix Coyotes. Now, keep in mind, when they played out of Scottsdale, that rink was sold out. I think it was just under 16,000 people, white out, very passionate fans. Let's be honest, they built the rink in the wrong spot. Ownership has been a mess. So if you get two things, a stable arena, first of all, an arena that you could play out of other than a 4,780 person college place. If you have an NHL arena built in the right area, so if you build it where the dense population is, they will be fine. And then you need stable ownership that pays their bills and doesn't need the league's help and has deep pockets and is deep rooted in the community. So my memories was us. It ties into a former Edmonton Oiler. So I backed up Grant Fear, and we went and we were going deep in that round. I think it was first round, but we played Phoenix and Keith Tkachuk and Jeremy Roenick. Like, that was a good team. Yeah. Nikolai Habibulin.
Yeah.
And they took us to 7. And I remember Grant Fear standing up, and Fearsy never, ever said a word. He was a very quiet guy. And all he said to the guys is, guys, all I need is one tonight. And we won 1-0 that night. And it was kind of like that Messier statement is like, we're going to win. Like, it was literally, Grant said that, guys, we need one tonight and it will be fine. And Fearsy got a shutout. And I think Pierre Turgeon scored. I can't remember. They all kind of, the games they blend together. But we won 1-0 that night when we needed to win. And it was Fearsy called a shot. And I remember stretching on the trainer's table before the game, and I always had a little bag of popcorn there. And Fearsy walked in, and he just grabbed a little thing of popcorn, and he was just sitting there, and he's like, "What's up, chum?" I'm like, "You tell me." Like, this is, I'm watching a guy and who's been through it all, won cups, done everything, and he just had nerves of steel, and he just went out and threw a shutout that night. It was amazing.
Just one. Just needs one. Stands up and speaks one, and he gets the one. And great Pierre Turgeon drop as well.
Pierre Turgeon drop. That gave me chills when you said that. That is just like, I need one, boys, and goes out and delivers. It totally reminded me of the Moose story with the Rangers. Now, Noodles, we're heading into the playoffs. Clearly, it's go time. Teams are ready to go. Everything's set. It might be some jostling in the Western Conference, but everybody's ready to go. You just said it. You told that story about Grant Fuhr. Goaltending, everybody knows. It is what makes or breaks you in the NHL playoffs. And it's not always who you think. A la Aiden Hill with the Vegas Knights. Who do you see as maybe some outlying goaltenders, one or two that you could see really elevating their game, getting on a hot streak, and taking their team, further than maybe we had expected?
Well, I'd like to see Stuart Skinner do that, and he's getting an opportunity.
I wasn't going to say anything, but
well, I'm gonna say it because I've really been impressed with Stuart Skinner, with how poor the season started. You look back, and you guys have lived it, but you take a look at, Jack Campbell goes on waivers. Stuart Skinner wasn't playing well. The team was a mess in 30th place. They're losing to San Jose. Jay Woodcroft gets fired. They hire Chris Knobloch, which seemingly came out of nowhere. Didn't have that NHL head coach pedigree. I mean, Paul Coffey comes out of the stands essentially from the press box. Like, I look at it, it's been a unique year. The one thing I've been impressed with is the stability of Stuart Skinner, of not getting too high, not getting too low, being very consistent in his play. So now, last year's playoffs did not work out very well for him, especially against Vegas. Now, they might play Vegas again here. It looks like that. I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. But, for me, he needs to be as good as he was this season and just stable. He needs to make the saves that he should and maybe a couple that he shouldn't. And he's been able to do that. So my focus is on Stuart Skinner. I look at Jake Ottinger, Dallas doesn't get enough love. They're a scary, scary team that just kind of flies under the radar. We all know what Connor Hellebuck can bring to the table. The scary one for me, too, is Georgiev in Colorado. I don't know if they 100% trust their goaltending, but if you looked at his wins, loss, all of that, statistically, he's been fine. But, you're talking about maybe under the radar. That's a guy, Georgiev. I think Colorado's a rock star team. I really do. I think they're really good. I don't know how they'll hold up against Winnipeg, but Georgiev would be a guy that concerns me because he's unproven. They won with Kemper. They didn't win with Georgiev, and he hasn't been per se a starter in the playoffs. But I'm looking right at Edmonton, and I'm saying Stuart Skinner has to be a difference maker in a positive way for the Oilers to go on a deep run.
Well, it's a bang on point there, Noodles, too. And you mentioned Campbell. I mean, the whole idea, too, was a bit of a tandemness. I don't know if you want to call it a 50-50, but certainly there was an idea of playing two. I mean, and Skinner's taken it, and they are where they are now, largely in part because of him, too. It's fascinating, though, too, Jets getting that home ice now against Colorado, and you mentioned the goaltending with those two teams. But I just wanted to transition from the West here out to the East. Fascinating theater last night in terms of locking down that final wildcard spot in the East and the reward of getting to play the New York Rangers in the opening round, Noodles. Do you want to walk us through last night? Where were you? When did you see it all happen? And how did you digest it all as it was going on?
Okay, so I just landed. I'm back home, but I called the Boston-Ottawa game last night. And the night before, it was Ottawa-New York Rangers. And last week, it was Florida, Ottawa, Tampa, Ottawa. So I got to see all of these teams. And obviously, I know the Leafs very well. So I've got to see all of these teams live in the last week and a half to 10 days. These top-tier teams out east, including Carolina. So I think the New York Rangers are as advertised because the goalie's woken up. Shesterkin's been unreal his second half. Adam Fox is a Norris candidate. Up front, there's no weaknesses as far as their depth. So I was sitting, I'm sitting watching Boston kind of throw up a dud last night, and then they poured it on in the third period, and I think they had the shots were 24-2 or 24-3, and Anton Forsberg stole that game for Ottawa. So all of a sudden I'm watching before my eyes, the Boston Bruins lose. I had the Leaf game on the computer, and I'm watching the Leafs lose. So Florida wins and takes that spot. So all of a sudden now it's Boston-Toronto and the inter-Florida battle, which will be – and I don't sleep on Tampa because I watched them last week and Vasilevsky's woken up and Hedman's having his second-best career year. He's going to be in my Norris voting in the top 5. And, oh, yeah, they've got this Kucherov guy who's probably going to win the Hart.
A wild card team, eh?
And they're a wild card
Yeah.
team. So, I mean, it is going to be crazy out east where there's going to be probably three teams that go home that are cup contenders. And that's scary.
Is that Florida Tampa one out east specifically keeping an eye on? Obviously, here in Edmonton, we're still looking for the opponent, Vegas or LA, whichever. But in terms of the matchups already kind of set, I mean, which one are you kind of salivating more over than the rest?
I mean, the easy one would be Toronto-Boston because there's so much history there. Yeah. But I think it's going to be Florida-Tampa. Like, that's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah.
Both are legitimate teams. I know Tampa was a wild card team, but John Cooper, should be up for coach of the year. You look at Vasilevsky was out for the first 3 months. They've lost Sergachev for the season, but the spine of the team is still there with Hedman, with Kucherov, with Point, and Stamkos having 39 goals. I mean, Cirelli's had a career season. Brandon Hagel's had a career season, but all of a sudden they trade for Duclair and Dumba at that deadline. Those guys have fit in really nice. So Tampa's not going to be an easy out, but I do think Florida's a hell of a team. There's no weaknesses there either.
Well, Noodles, speaking of an easy out, this will be one that is totally not hockey related, but I think for you more than maybe some of our other guests that come on, people want to know you a bit more. They want to get to know who the real Noodles is, and this came in on our Paris Jewelers inbox by a fellow named Bad Andy. Totally random question, but I thought of somebody to ask, it would be you.
Okay.
What's your favorite band of all time?
I mean,
this is going to tell a lot about your story. This is going to tell a lot about what the people say about you.
Well, okay, so I think the easy one would be Nickelback because people know that I'm very close with Chad. Chad is one of my best friends. We have a weird kind of backstory too. My ex-girlfriend, her uncle married Chad's mom, and that was long before kind of Chad and I became very good friends.
This is like the Eastern wildcard situation last night, man. I'm like, hey,
it's crazy. But I mean, you know what? I always joke because I'm so close with the band. Like, their manager Bradley's a dear friend, and Chad. So I would say it's Nickelback, but I love Metallica. I love Bon Jovi. I'm a classic rock guy. I like anything where you can actually pick a guitar up and play it and sing. It's not synthesized on a computer. There's not a guy pressing a button with the headphones on and stuff like that. I don't mind house music, but I like music that's generated with a guitar, drums, maybe, an amp, all of that type of stuff, and people singing into a microphone without auto-tune.
You like to rock and roll all night, hey? Or
listen, Kiss would be one of them, but here's the other thing too. I don't know if you guys have read my book, and I know I got to go, but Gene Simmons pissed me off when I met him. It's called the egg salad handshake. And if I promise you, I know I got to go, but I promise you I will tell you that story if you remind me, is when I met Gene Simmons and he wiped his mouth after eating a potato salad or sandwich and then shook my hand. And I was like, all right, I'm done with Kiss.
Well, just another reason to go get the book, right?
I think so, yes.
I think that's a great reason right there alone.
Noodles, appreciate your time, man. We'll talk next Wednesday.
Okay, guys. Thanks for having me. I do love Kiss, but Gene Simmons pissed me off. That's all.
There you have it. Jamie McLennan, TSN Hockey Analyst, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. Your locally owned sports memorabilia and apparel specialists. You can find them just north of the Yellowhead Trail, St. Albert Trail, 128th Avenue, or visit them online, proamsports.ca. Like you, they're sports nerds and AM nasties, too. I don't know about their Kiss fandom, but thank you very much, Bad Andy, for getting that question in. The egg when he had the egg salad sandwich handshake, I checked out. That's all I needed to know. The gory details involving that and wiping his mouth, but you're right. Buy the book. I mean, if there's a chapter dedicated to that.
Who eats an egg salad sandwich in public?
What's the event?
Right? Is there a tea? Is this a luncheon?
I know the Masters. You just had our pimento sandwiches, but
sure. Did you look at actually what a pimento sandwich is?
Well, it's like, what is it? Is it
It's cream cheese,
Yeah, cheese and
like red peppers.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's smothered on white bread.
It's not having that for me.
I
I can't be doing that right now. And a nice cold glass of sweet tea.
Yeah,
Okay?
of course.
Get that down in you.
How can we forget?
7:22. You are listening to the Nielson Show. EdmontonSportsTalk.com, the iHeart and TuneIn radio apps as well on YouTube. Nasty Chat is clicking away. A lot of people kind of discussing Vegas and how the fans are scared of them or something. The team shouldn't be. I know a lot of talk on Holloway here. Doofish P is in here. He's stunning people all over the place. I think Wheels is in as well. Wheels sent in a text. I promised I'd read. Here it is, a teeth. It's game day. Jay the Glue Guy LT and YouTube Trev running the Nielson Show. LTE hiding here. Got wondering if I was seeing things. The mighty Oilers head into Mulet Arena area to play the Coyotes for the last time ever. The future of the Coyotes is moving to the state of Utah where they might not be allowed to play games on Sundays. Smart move. Gary Bertman comes in from a teeth. Always love his
Well
text.
done.
I don't
Well
know if it's going to win text of the day, but it'll come close. So 780-218-9999. If you want to chime in there, anything on the heels of a Teefs text there, I think he kind of hit all the high notes.
I don't know what else we need to talk about.
He summed it all up here tonight. But who do you want, Vegas or the Kings? I know it really doesn't matter, and this isn't a question to say that. I want to preface again, the Oilers should not be scared of anybody, and I don't think they are. Fans, though, can have their concerns, depending on how teams stack up to you stylistically. I've said from the start, I don't like the Kings and how they stack up. I think they're a boring team that plays to stifle the Oilers. That's kind of their DNA. I do, however, suggest that PLD trade was a couple of steps back for them, and if I'm a Kings fan, I'd rather have the gluttony that you gave up to acquire PLD as opposed to the pouter Luc Dubois. But that's what they've done, and that's where they're at. And in terms of the Golden Knights, I guess it's a team much like kind of the Lightning, you could argue, out east, waiting around in the reeds, right? Getting healthy at the right time. And now they've been this team that Craig Button isn't buying on and saying, oh, yeah, look at the numbers. But now they're healthy. Now it's playoff time. Who's to say they aren't flipping a switch here and playing like a division winner as opposed to a wild card entrant?
What a scary first round matchup.
Like who do you want? You're not scared of anybody, are you? Just to get that out of the way. There's no opponents that scare the Oilers in the opening round.
No, this is a different vibe, different feel, and the scaring or who you want to play. Who cares? I mean, if you're going to win the Stanley Cup, you're going to have to go through the best teams in the NHL.
But sometimes there are easier courses.
There are, but do you want that? Or do you want your, it does, you could make a case for either way. You could say, let's have a dud in the first round. But in the Western Conference, name me one dud.
It's a murderer's row.
I mean, I know that the LA Kings have been thrown around as the only dud or potential team that you would not see winning the Stanley Cup playoffs. You're going through the Western Conference. You're going to play 3 tough rounds, minimum. And it's going to be 4 tough rounds. So who cares? Are the Oilers scared? No. Are some of their fans? Possibly. But it's playoffs. It's the playoff atmosphere. It's you're not exactly sure how your team's going to play that night, who you're playing right now. There's a lot up in the air. But no. I mean, you got to beat 4 solid teams to win it. So bring it on.
It's a fan base divided this morning. Boys, take Vegas all day long. That's going to be a massive springboard. I heard Petrangelo gives pork chop handshakes. Ask Leon. That comes in from Hontorio Momes. I know a lot of people saying that it does matter, and Vegas is the one you want to avoid, and you want the Kings. Safety Ev says Hill can catch fire. Give me the Kings goalies. Something to be said about that. YouTube Trev.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I've been saying for the last little bit here, I want the Oilers to face the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round. I'm looking at it as if you beat the best, I feel like that'll go at lengths. It'll just boost the confidence of this team so much. And as far as the entertainment value, I like that. I like the matchup a little bit more. I think there's a lot more headlines you can look at. The Oilers have beaten the Los Angeles Kings. They did it last year. They did it the year before. Who's to say they could do it again? The Kings are wanting, they're going to be motivated, extra motivated, just like the Oilers should be extra motivated to take on the Vegas Golden Knights. And if the Oilers face the Vegas Golden Knights first round, like, bring it. Absolutely bring it. You know, Connor McDavid, he loves challenges, and there's no greater challenge. First round against the reigning Stanley Cup champs. I was just looking at it as well. The Los Angeles Kings, they played Vancouver 5 times this year, and they beat them 4 out of the 5. So
what does it all mean?
Yeah. So I like the matchup. The Kings, they seem to match up pretty well against the Canucks. But as far as the Oilers, you shouldn't be scared. You really shouldn't. You know, like, what are we? Like, I honestly think that going into the playoffs, you gotta have confidence. You shouldn't be scared of any team. And no, the Vegas Golden Knights, that's the matchup I want. I think the Oilers, they match up really good against them. And what Craig Budden said last 2 weeks ago, they have the same record as the Detroit Red Wings.
And he showed his numbers. He had work to back it up.
He showed the work.
Just an opinion. But again, I do like to take out the word scared and replace it with concern, because it's again, nobody's scared of me, anyway. But the concern, and Trev, you'd be less concerned playing the Golden Knights than you would be the Kings, or maybe it does phrase the question a different way and makes you answer a different way.
I think I honestly it's both pretty close. Like, yeah. I feel like they really are, like, pretty similar. Yeah. As far as, like, up front, I mean, Los Angeles Kings, like, they're no slouch. Like, and they, like I said, like, I honestly think that they're going to be extra motivated. They've lost to the Oilers 2 years in a row, and that's why I don't like that.
Shut up, but I just, it's those things. And again, you can create a story, I guess, for all of them, in terms of pros and negatives of facing some of these teams and how they match up. And I know a lot of people have their opinions and everything. And
I think the obvious sentiment is that, sure, just, by history would state that the Oilers would want to play the Kings prior to,
because they've beaten them before.
Because they've showed that. But history doesn't mean in the NHL playoffs. So, I mean, and like you said, YTT, you have to beat the best to get there anyways. And you're going through the Western Conference. I don't know if you've looked at all the teams that are playing in that, but they're pretty damn good. So, you could talk about it and try and say the Oilers match up better against this team, or the goaltending on this team is better. But at the end of the day, and maybe there's something to be said about playing a better, a hypothetically better team in the Las Vegas Knights first round before, that you may have some nagging injuries present themselves.
Donkey chimes in, LA is dirtier too. I get worried about injuries coming out of that series. I guess you could maybe also lay claim to Vegas in a sense, but I could also see LA knowing that they probably maybe don't have they're built to stymie the Oilers, really. That's their whole DNA. And so if they go out there and they're I mean, I don't think anybody's picking the Kings necessarily to go on a cup run. And maybe they know that too, but they would go. That'd be a tough series, and the Oilers coming out of that series, even if they do win, and they're going to be. But again, I guess you could say that. But anyways, maybe the question is, if you're the Vegas Golden Knights or LA Kings, who would you rather have in the first round between the Dallas Stars or the Edmonton Oilers? And maybe that's a question as well that you kind of toss between, and what matchup is there, putting your mind, in the heads of Vegas and LA. But
I think they'd rather have the Oilers.
Yeah,
to be honest with you,
and that's a good point. Looking at from their perspective, they're probably like, I don't want to.
The homerness out because I don't know. Dallas is and nothing against the Oilers, but
and to keep in mind, the Oilers they were at one point winning every single game against the Vegas Golden Knights. And they had a lead against the Vegas Golden Knights in every game last year in the playoffs. So
good point.
They addressed their defense. They've played way better this season defensively. They haven't relied nearly as much on that power play, and I think that's going to go a long way in this year's playoffs. Like it's nice to have that option with the power play, but they've been scoring 5-on-5 way better than last year. Yep. So there's a lot of things that have changed from last year's Oilers, and I think they face up really good against the Golden
Keeping
Knights.
That head in the game, though. That'll be a challenge as well. Your boy Barron chimes in. Kings probably guarantee second round. Knights will only get healthier and more packed the farther down the road you face them. Facing them around one is your best bet. So there's an interesting angle as well. We are running a little off the time. Cool Bet hotline of the day. Do you have anything teed up here? Our good friends at Cool Bet, of course. You can check them out online. But anything from tonight's game, Coyotes and Oilers, do you want to focus on, Jay?
Yes. The Nuge. I love watching the Nuge play against the Arizona Coyotes.
Okay.
Will score is currently plus 235 on CoolBet. So that is your CoolBet hotline of the day. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to score a goal.
You heard it here.
You heard it here first.
And we got a song when that happens tonight that Jay here predicted, and you can follow him to the bank. We'll be playing the song tomorrow
And I'm
morning.
even going to call it. I'm going to call it.
This is more than a lean, hey?
That's right. This is a Mr. Lean caps lock.
No.
Mr. Lean.
Well, eat that, Natty.
High slot, power play goal, sniper, low glove.
We're rolling. Do you have the time? Do you want to give us a time?
It'll be somewhere in the first 60 minutes of the game.
Love it. I am not working on a playoff beard either. I just kind of it's a different look. It's a different week. Dustin gone as well. So Jay's in here. Joaquin Gage will be in Friday. You're here for a couple of days this week, couple of days or one day next week.
I'll be with you today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Aren't we having a sleepover?
Oh, at the farm. Yeah. You have the deal there. That's if there's room for one more. I've slept on the floor. I can do that again. And YouTube Trev in this morning, but Zacticum will be in tomorrow in kind of a rotating chair there as we go through the week as well. So stick with us here. Sans Dustin Nielson, but the fun and the party continues as we approach ever closer to the playoffs. 780-218-9999. Paris Jewelers inbox. Have your say or get in the nasty chat as well. We'll hit a sports update here, and we'll be back with free advice from Damon Bunting and our legal analyst, Eric Macramalla, also to come in this second hour.
All right, it was a big night in the Eastern Conference of the NHL as the playoffs continue to take form. The Washington Capitals defeated the Philadelphia Flyers 2-1 to secure the NHL's final remaining playoff spot. The win eliminated the Flyers, Detroit Red Wings, and Pittsburgh Penguins from playoff contention. Washington will face off against the President's Trophy-winning New York Rangers in round one. As well, with a victory over the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Florida Panthers clinched the first place in the Atlantic Division, which sets up a battle of Florida as they will face the Tampa Bay Lightning in round one. This also means that the Boston Bruins will face the Toronto Maple Leafs in round one. This one should be a good one. Lock it in. In the Western Conference, the Canucks lock up first place in the division with a 4-1 win over the Flames, while the Jets earn home ice advantage with a 4-3 win over the Kraken. They will face Colorado in round one. In the major leagues of baseball, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. reached base 4 times and added 2 RBIs as Yusei Kikuchi won his first game for the Blue Jays as they hand the high-powered New York Yankees their first series loss of the season. They finished this series this afternoon as former Blue Jay Marcus Stroman takes to the mound for the Yankees. Also a big night in the association, as we are Association City. The Lakers edge the Pelicans to set up a first-round date with the Denver Nuggets. The Sacramento Kings knock off the Golden State Warriors, and they will take on the New Orleans Pelicans on Thursday. The play-in tournament continues tonight as the Philadelphia 76ers host the Heat, and the Chicago Bulls play host to the Atlanta Hawks. In other basketball news, former Raptor Kawhi Leonard will fill the 12th and final roster spot for Team USA as they set and prepare for the 2024 Paris Olympics. In the AJHL, Game 3 of the championship went last night where it saw the Calgary Canucks post 17 shots and 3 goals in the final period as they come back to win 5-4 over the Whitecourt Wolverines. This win gives the Canucks a 3-0 stranglehold on the series with Game 4 set for tonight in Calgary. This sports update has been brought to you by Mitch Lewicki and the staff at Park Mazda. Mitch does not lose contests. He wins them, or he quits them because they're unfair.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching the button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Take it every little piece, don't you leave nothing left for me. Break it every little part of my heart unceremoniously. I know guys out there, they look like lots of fun, but they don't care who you are or where you come from.
7:37, Nielson Show. Lieutenant Eric in for Dustin Nielson this week alongside Glue Guy, Jay Milne, and YouTube Trev behind the monitors there. Just having a little fun. Owen Wednesday. Wednesday. Not Owen Wednesday, I guess. Wednesday. Got to get the terminology right. But maybe that's how you win text of the day this morning, 780-218-9999. If you want to include a text regarding the Throw Mama from a Train movie, feel free. I know we got legal analyst Eric Macramalla still to come. The Macramalla intros are always a good way to get in to get that $20 to A&W or anything else. Text in 780-218-9999. We'll award a text of the day winner at the end of today's show.
Eric,
yes?
we do have one that is come in and is a strong contender, a little long, but it sets the tone here of maybe what Oilers Nation is feeling at this point right now. I'm heartened by a couple things. This comes from Dr. J. I'm heartened by a couple things. Knobloch and Coffee will do better than whatever Woody and Manson were doing. Stu will be better than last year. And I think Aiden Hill is a major question mark for the Knights. That doesn't mean I'm not nervous, but I think things will bode better. And we, as in Oilers fans, are starting at home this time.
Yes.
Dr. J. I think that's a very well put, it summarizes a lot of feelings. I think YTT, you seem to agree with that. Does that summarize maybe what Oilers fans are going through right now, and maybe why there is a little bit more quiet confidence leading into the playoffs?
Yeah, I think he nailed it on the head. Like, Aiden Hill has struggled mightily as of late, and the Oilers came in like he wasn't even the starter. And sometimes in playoffs, weird things happened. He was called upon, and he was lights out. And he like, if it wasn't for him, obviously he wasn't the drive, or he was one of the driving factors. But yeah, I agree. Stuart Skinner, that was his first, and Joaquin Gage talked about it. Your first playoffs it's a bumpy road. It's you're not gonna, and imagine how it is if you're like a defenseman. If you're the guy, you're the last line of defense as a rookie goaltender in the playoffs in Edmonton. Like, that's a tough task, and I'm expecting a lot more from Stuart Skinner. So yeah, I agree with pretty well everything he said.
We do need to get to free advice brought to you by DamonBunting.com here. Maybe that's some of the advice as well being shared from Dr. J that you just read out there, Glue Guy, and maybe taking things, just taking a breath, taking a step back and repeating all those things to yourself and saying, yeah, you know what, everything will be okay. We don't need to fear anybody. But free advice, it's brought to you by DamonBunting.com. Just here it is. He's a consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian RE/MAX realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven, he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or on the gram, his Instagram handle, Damon Bunting Real Estate. He's very good on the gram, and you know Damon Bunting quite well. Any advice that you'd like to share maybe for Damon, and you could pass on to him through this segment?
Damon actually texted me, knew I'd be coming. Damon's my realtor. He's
a realtor and a friend.
A realtor and a friend, a dear friend.
That's a relationship you can have here.
That's a relationship you can have. And exactly. And actually, if you follow Damon Bunting on said gram,
yes,
you'll find that he has a lot of really neat giveaways. Mm-hmm. Just a lot of giveaway, a lot of local businesses in Edmonton and Sherwood Park specifically that he supports and feels drawn to. So definitely give that gram a follow. But he did text me.
Okay.
He said, Glue Guy, I want this to come straight from the horse's mouth. So I did write it down. He did say, take the play, and this is more for the Oilers collective, for the fans. And I'm going to look right into the camera and try read this. Take the playoffs one game at a time. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. This could be the start of a long playoff run, so just take it easy. Don't get too high.
Take it easy.
Don't get too. That was the exact words. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. That is the straight, honest advice from Damon Bunting. Because, as you know, as we've all heard the Tom Gazzola story of the fight that happened in one of his live on locations during Game 1 of an Oilers playoff run.
Emotions get high, yeah.
Emotions get high, but these are 7-game series. This is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
So in the good words of said Damon Bunting, take the playoffs one game at a time. Don't get too high. Don't get too low.
Relax is what he's telling people.
Chillax.
Everybody loves hearing somebody tell them to relax, okay? Especially when it's all on the line. But that's great advice. And Damon Bunting, the provider of the advice this morning, we thank him for that. Check him out once again, DamonBunting.com or on the gram, Damon Bunting Real Estate. We thank him for his time, his advice this morning as well. And if you have any advice that you need, specifically this morning from Glue Guy Jay Milne, who is in co-hosting while Dustin Nielson is away, please chime in, 780-218-9999, or in the nasty chat. He'd be kind to share his advice with you, whether it's operating a furniture store, whether it's being the husband and a father on a funny farm, whether it's getting punked on April Fools, any of those things you need help with, he's your man. So text in if you still need some advice. Rototilling, aeration, any
yard
raking,
essentials.
that type of thing.
Actually, on Twitter, I do compete with our dear friend Yukon over at the Bear.
Yeah,
we have lawn offs.
Do you? Because he's a Lonnie, eh?
He's a Lonnie.
So you're part of that. Okay, well,
yeah, I'm a Lonnie.
Well, I like that we have an in-house guy now that I can kind of get tips off you. I'm going to be looking for your advice for my lawn.
Yeah, bring it on.
He used to be my guy at the old place.
Yeah, well. Now you got your guy here.
I think I have a better guy now.
I'm the glue guy. And actually, it's the Yukon lawn.
Yeah.
I do think that I take much better care of mine.
Well, and everything came with a how can I say this? A receipt whenever I needed advice.
Oh, really?
And I mean, I don't think you're the type of guy. You've already offered me a discount to come hang out at your place. So
I'm not. Yes, I've already given you half price on that one-day fare for the Milne Funny Farm.
So that's free advice. DamonBunting.com. Check him out today. And he can be your realtor for life. Speaking of for life, dealer for life is Park Mazda, and that's the sponsor of our next guest, who is, there he is. He's waiting in the bullpen. Hopefully we weren't making him wait too long. No? Eric Macramalla joins us. He's standing, sitting, maybe kneeling in his home office. Of course, Dustin Nielson away this morning. You get Lieutenant Eric, you get the glue guy, Jay Milne, and YouTube Trev behind the glass. But, Eric, can you hear us?
Sure, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. You look great.
You can. I'm using my Rode microphone, so how could you not hear me? Okay, so here's the thing. Yep. Do I need to raise it? Let me get my books. My books that I do when I do my show. I've got the last.
I use the same trick. Yeah.
What do we got
the
there?
The last commissioner of Major League Baseball, Faye Vincent, who's been on my show offside many times, and says, "You ask good questions. I love coming on, so thank you." And then federal court practice rules from 2020. So that's what I do.
That's
a
thick one.
Yeah, well, federal court is
big.
It's not a little bit of it's quite something. Let me tell you,
it's not radio, television arts. Eh?
So you're Jay.
Yes.
Jay. You're not Dustin.
No, I had one person in the nasty chat say that I went for a facial reconfiguration and it did not go well. So that's how my morning goes.
Yeah,
something like that.
And John Travolta.
Yeah, like Dusty. That looks really bad.
Movie.
I do
there
too.
are no scar marks on their faces.
No, it's seamless.
So there are no seams. So Jay, who are you? I'm not from Edmonton, so I don't know.
Who am I? That's a good question.
It's the first meeting between the two of you.
Yes, this is, and it's very nice to meet you.
This is amazing.
Yeah, long time, first time, Mr. Macramalla. My name is Jason Milne. I'm officially known here as the Glue Guy. And this is actually a question that's going to. What does that mean? What does that mean? That's a good question, Eric Macramalla. What it means is that I was named that by our dear friend Tom Gazzola because. So this will answer a lot of questions for people in the nasty chat listening. Who the hell is Jason Milne? Well, Dusty and I go way back. When Dusty first came to Edmonton, him and I used to call Golden Bears football games. So I was his color man.
Were you guys hired to do it or just do it from the stands?
No. We were hired to do it by the university, by Canada West. Come on. You know Dusty. He doesn't work for free. So since then, Dustin and I have remained close. And when Edmonton Sports, apparently, Edmonton Sports Talk came up, and he thought I'd be a good guest to come on the Hangout, which is a show, a daily show from 9 to 11, where we just chop it up about sports and local content. So I started appearing on that, and Tom Gazzola referred to me as the Glue Guy because I'm a nice guy. I would bring in coffees,
food
and
drink,
donuts for the crew, and unify the room. So that's who I am, and that's how the Glue Guy came about. Who are you?
Is better than the Sink Guy.
Which sorry?
I'm the Prince of Egypt, the Egyptian magician, the sports legal analyst that has worked for free for 14 years, except for Al Jazeera TV, where I went on for 4 minutes and they paid me $500 US. And in the background was like my Egyptian Christmas dinner, complete chaos and screaming, everything you would. I think there might have been gunfire. And then doing other stuff on TV. And well, Forbes started paying some money, but please, I don't feel it.
You also represent a collection of musical artists as well, do you not? Bands and
I do. I'll add Outkast to the list. So yeah, so it's been, I've been doing this since 2010, right? And it's not what I do for a living, obviously.
Well, you have the show.
I'm beginning to question, what in the hell am I doing? What is wrong with me? Like, they had me on one of these shows yesterday on The Move from Phoenix to Salt Lake City, and I'm providing all of this information and analysis. And I'm thinking to myself, what in the hell am I doing?
Well, but you still have your law show, right? That's broadcast nationwide, coast to coast to coast.
A lot of sports, yeah, but Habs talk, and
yeah,
sometimes I'll fill in on the regular radio station in Montreal.
Well, that's it. You had a tweet 22 hours ago. If a Coyotes player has a no-move clause, he may be challenged his involuntary. Basically, if a Coyote, if an Arizona Coyote doesn't want to be a Salt Lake City Coyote.
Yeah, what's funny is someone asked me on Twitter. I don't know why I responded. Maybe because they're stupid. They said, "What's your source for that?" I'm like, "I'm not a reporter. This is a legal analyst. It's an analysis, a legal analysis of the CBA, the common law, and the jurisprudence." And there's a very good argument that a no movement means you're not allowed to involuntarily be relocated. And that language is in the CBA. It applies to trades and those things. The relocation is not mentioned expressly in the CBA for that, but there's a very good argument. And that's why when there was the Vegas draft, right, players that had no moves were not eligible to be drafted by Vegas unless they waived it. I think the only... Is it Brian Little might be the only guy that's got a no move and he's going to retire anyway?
Yeah.
Clayton Keller might have one in a couple of years, I think. He was almost a point a game this season, by the way. Good for him. But I find it like such a fascinating move. Like, let me ask you this. Would you guys be interested in this deal? Buy a team for $425 million in 2019, 5 years ago. Run it into the ground. Don't pay rent owned on the Glendale Arena. Don't have your AHL team pay its rent. Get both teams evicted from their respective arenas. And then 5 years later, make a profit of $675 million. Is that something you'd be interested in?
Are we adjusting for inflation here as well? Or is this...
What's the basis of that question?
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. Yes, you're taking a
deal
and turning it into 6
sure.
Okay, 5 years is not a lot for inflation, but let's adjust it for inflation. Are you interested in a profit of $562 million and 33 cents?
I mean,
yes, you are.
I am. Yes, I am.
It's crazy, right, Jay?
I know it's crazy. I was just going to ask you that. Like, what have you heard about? I mean, I don't know if we've got the straight good story about exactly what went down here and how essentially. The Phoenix Coyotes are ripping off. I mean, aren't the other NHL owners in some sort of a collective here that are saying, "Hey, whoa, time out! Like, what are we doing here, and how are we rewarding this?"
Alex Morello is just that cunning of a businessman, though, eh?
Yeah, the NHL got taken by this guy. It was a phenomenal con job. He has the right of first refusal for a franchise in 5 years when the NHL expands, or 3 to 5 years, so long as he can get this real estate development approved. I want to be clear about this. My prediction is you will never hear from him again. He might be on a yacht somewhere in Monte Carlo doing some kind of info commercial with a bunch of bikini models or something, but you're not going to hear from this guy again. Why in the hell would you? Doesn't make any sense.
No, that's a good point. Legal analyst Eric Macramalla joining us this morning. Courtesy our good friends at Park Mazda, your dealer for life. Eric, I just wanted to get where are we at with Shohei Ohtani? What time is it? Where are we at on the developments with that story that will probably never, ever end?
I think we've now reached a turning point in the case insofar as Shohei Ohtani's presumed guilt, of which I believe that has faded away based upon the affidavit that was filed last week by the California prosecutors. It details text messages between Musahara and Matt Fowler, who's the bookie in California, attempts. They've conducted, I guess, a preliminary forensic investigation and saw that Musahara was stealing from his account up to $16 million. Remember I said to you a couple weeks ago, Eric and Jay, you were likely listening, that if you lose about $4.5 million, it means you might have bet between $80 and $90 million.
Yeah.
And you guys are like, what? This doesn't make any sense. I was wrong. It's about $140 million. So really interesting. He was accessing his account, but where do you get the rest of the money? That's what I want to understand to bet. But I think we're at the point where Ohtani is witness number one against Musahara, which is really important. I spoke to you last week how that might be a concern if he wasn't telling the truth. Because once you're pursued by way of criminal charges, you might flip on the other person. Because there are people that were saying, well, how could he have not known that he was betting? Or maybe he was betting on sports himself. Or worst case scenario, he willingly wired $4.5 million to Fowler the bookie in California, which is a criminal offense, right? It would appear that none of that's the case. So I think the story may fade away. I think Musahara is pleading guilty. He will go to jail. Like, this is not, you're not going to cut a deal for community service. When you engage in bank fraud, tax evasion, you are going to go to prison because this is a substantial amount of money, unless they cut a deal with him and have him testify against Fowler. But you don't really need that because you have all the text messages and you also have other evidence. But who knows? But he's also being pursued by the IRS as well, right? So at a federal level, he's being pursued. And at a state level, he's being pursued. He's being pursued for one reason. We love to say his last name, Musahara. It's a lot of fun to say. Musahara. I'm going to change my kids' names to Musahara Macramalla.
Almost as fun as saying Macramalla. Almost as fun. I found the person that asked for your source, Dylan Cardinal. He is actually an Edmonton-based listener and a nasty. So well, I've sussed him out. I've retweeted your... Yeah.
Dylan, if you're listening, look, I love you because I love everybody. And we don't have enough love in the world. But your tweet, I think, presupposed that, I was, I don't know, reporter from, I don't know, the Edmonton Sun or something.
You're not in the mainstream media, hey? You don't want to be confused with that lot.
That I am the law. I am the source. I'm the source.
X-Ray J as well in our YouTube nasty chat, Eric. You'll love this. We here at Edmonton look forward to your segments. Your degenerate yet concise legal analysis is equally educational and degenerately inspirational to us in the nasty chat. So thanks, Macramalla.
Look, we said this to you all along, and Jay, I'm sure that you agree. Like, Edmonton has the best listeners, but it's more than that. It's Dustin and Eric are able to engage their listeners like no other Maverick type radio show in the country. I've been on every show you can imagine, not only in Canada but abroad in the US and other. Like, it's not even close. Like, you guys are able to pull excellence from your listeners. You engage them like nobody else. This is why your Maverick, I don't call it podcast, that's diminishing it. It's a live show. It's a live show, better than the other one, because now we can see you and your little ponytail there.
Hey, you noticed, did you? Yeah, I was going to say, take that, Al Jazeera, right? It's like you can shove that up the thing. I just wanted also, before you go, your thoughts, O.J. Simpson.
Guilty. Next question.
Okay, well, that's all I have for you today. The glove didn't fit.
I think it's great that he's dead. People, when people die, we often will soften on our views, but he's a murderer. I mean,
well, and more things come out with him as like NDAs are now scrubbed away with his passing, or so I've heard.
And I love that one guy saying that was like a planned hit by the Gambino family. That guy is ridiculous. So OJ bought that knife, right? And that's the knife he used to kill Ron and Nicole. And when he killed Nicole, I don't know if you've seen the photos, but he nearly decapitated her, nearly took her head off and stabbed Ron Goldman over 30 times. Poor guy was just bringing back glasses to Nicole, right? She forgot them at the restaurant. And the one thing I'm curious about is if they would do an autopsy on his brain and see if he had CTE. That's the one thing that I'm just wondering about, because he was prone to these outbursts. But the only thing is that with the knife thing, that's premeditated, right? And oftentimes if you have CTE, you have very little impulse control, but you don't necessarily plan a double homicide well ahead of time. So that's the one thing I'd be curious about.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, fascinating. Look, we wouldn't have reality TV without the man. Agreed?
Yeah. So Jay, how do you like sitting there? I think it's like an honor, right?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I'm always honored. I filled in a little bit when Dusty was Big Daddy Davos over the Christmas break, and he was out at the Spangler. So I filled in a couple days there, but I missed your segment. So I'm happy to finally get to meet you face to face. I love sitting here. I'm honored to be sitting in the big man's chairs. I notice it's a little weebly, it's a little wobbly. We might have to change something. He is a big fella. But no, I am
but
honored,
it keeps
truthfully.
you on your toes, right?
It
if
did.
the seat is if you're firmly ensconced in the seat, you may well fall asleep. So it's good that
It
you're
is comfortable.
teetering.
And no, it is an honor to finally get to meet you face to face. And thank you for your
Oh,
kind
it's very
words.
nice to see you. You seem very calm on the air. You seem very happy, even keeled. Please, who needs Dustin? Dustin's a low energy loser like Jeb Bush. You see, Eric, I can always bring it back for you.
Yeah, that's why we love you. That's why we love you.
Yeah, I know you were waiting.
We also
I
have a
know you
source.
were
We
waiting.
also have a source. Somebody texted in. His family already said no to looking at his brain. So there you go. An unnamed
Really?
source. An unnamed source checking you.
Wow, but what's that person? Who's that person's source?
We don't know. We don't even know the
Unnamed.
person. Unnamed, no source. So kind of
I
wraps
watch
it up in a row.
Newsroom. All right, I watch Newsroom. Unless you double source it, doesn't mean anything.
One more
Sorry,
before
man.
we leave. One more from the Paris Jewelers inbox, and I just have to say that this is from Martin. Shave Macramalla's beard, and he can play Jimmy Kimmel in a Jimmy Kimmel biopic. What do you say?
What
do you say about that?
Jay?
Yeah.
You know what's fascinating about that? Okay, so I've received Eric Estrada, everybody on America's Most Wanted. Once I got Russell Wilson from Russell Wilson's wife while I was making out with her. But I was recently in the Dominican Republic at a very fancy, expensive resort because I have so much money. And one person came up to me and said, "You look like Jimmy Kimmel." I'm like, I've never received that at all. Right? It's crazy.
I see it.
Shave.
With the
If
shave,
I
yeah.
shave, do you? If I shave, I just turned 50, right? So if I shave, I think I might look like him in my 30s or early 40s.
Yeah, don't do that. It would
But
be
my kids are not going to want that.
Clean shaven next Wednesday. That'd be. I
want me to
put
do
my hair
that?
back.
do it.
Please for the playoffs.
Okay, but
Dusty's
only
back
do
next
it-
Wednesday. Dusty's back next Wednesday.
Yeah,
do
No,
it for
I
him.
know Dusty's done. I want you back in there. Okay,
You got it.
Dusty sit in the middle on a really low stool, so his chin is on the table. If I do that, you might be taken aback. So let's do the Diane Sawyer. You know, when she did interviews in her 90s, I don't know how old she is, maybe 140. She put Vaseline on the camera.
Sure.
So she was just the blur, and then wore a turtleneck because her neck didn't match her face. Right? So
I
can
like
we
it.
do that?
Yes.
Can we do that?
We'll figure it out.
Are
We'll
you sorry that you
expand
took
the
this
budget.
call, Jay?
No, it's made
like-
my morning.
I'm so tired. I ripped one of my rotator cuffs, and I haven't slept in 9 weeks.
Ah,
I'm so tired.
rest up then,
I'm gonna
Eric
coach
Macramalla. We appreciate your time as always.
Kenny G, it's been a lot of fun. I like it. Jay, it's fantastic to me. You're amazing on the air. And unlike every other radio show, when I hang up, today is a solicitor day. I keep you guys on in the background, and I listen to the entire show. It's
Oh, baby.
wildly entertaining.
Bravo.
So thanks for
Bravo.
making my day a little bit better. Who are you people? Okay, you guys take care of yourselves. I love you.
We love you too.
Eric Macramalla, our legal analyst, brought you by the fine folks and dealer principal Mitch Lewicki at Park Mazda, your dealer for life. Check them out, Sherwood Park today or online at parkmazda.ca. And we thank Eric Macramalla for his time this morning, especially when Dusty isn't here, because the two of them usually giggle like a couple of kids, and it's fun to watch and listen to. But
I don't understand why.
yeah, you're right, Eric. Low energy, just like Jeb Bush, eh?
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
That is an art.
We have to get to an that's good here. We do want to take a. Well, we'll get Trevor to call somebody for kind of easy trivia right now. We're kind of up against it here. But if you want to play kind of easy trivia this morning, $25 on the line to Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual. So you can get that. They got the 6 o'clocker lager there as well. So a nice little meal for yourself and a drink or take out a date. But $25 to Mr. Mike's on the line right now for kind of easy trivia. If you want to play, if you want a chance at that, I promise it's going to be really easy this morning. You don't even know. Text in 780-218-9999. Trev will pick somebody to play. 780-218-9999. Text in. Very easy. I'll ask you some questions. Then you'll be walking out with a Mr. Mike's gift card, $25. 780-218-9999. Text in if you want to play and you need that Mr. Mike's burger. So Trev will get a caller real quickly. Jay will get to that's good for the Italian Center shop. And you're no stranger to that place, I know. And kind of, I think the Glue Guy moniker comes from the Italian Center, as you used to show up early days here of EST with boxes upon boxes of meats, cheeses,
Charcuteries,
delicious pastries from the bakery. But try the Spinelli Panino, a house-made baguette topped with olive oil, oregano, roasted red pepper spread, then loaded with mortadella, capicolo, Genoa, salami, and provolone. Available hot or mild, both equally good, wrapped in the deli paper, so you know it's good for an easy grab-and-go meal for any occasion. Pick your sandwich up today. Head into that bakery as well. The deli counter is buzzing. What's standing out for you? And that's good.
You know, I was thinking about this last night, about this segment, and I know that it is presented by the Italian Center shop, and
Yes.
I thought, why venture far away from that?
Fair enough.
I know. Okay, so Glue Gal, my wife, she bought a portable pizza oven for me for Christmas.
Wow.
It is life-changing. It gets up to 725 degrees. It's pellet fed.
Pellet, yeah.
It's portable. You can literally, I could bring it in here, and other than the soot going up, you could use it. But you know what I mean? You don't have to plug it in anything. Italian Center Shop has some of the finest take and bake pizza options going. They are not far down from where you'd find those lovely sandwiches. And there's different flavors. There's varieties. They get the cheese. You get the spicy. You get the olives. You get the veggie. Oh, boy. It was so good. And you don't have to worry about the mess that you have to make all the dough and all that. But, that's good.
And YouTube Trev can sing the refrain as well as he's dove into the pizza game. And you can buy them naked. You can just buy the shell, buy the crust, load it on yourself. You can buy the pre-made, the pre-flavors. But that pizza oven, I just use my regular, pleb oven at home, and it works well. But a pizza oven with those things, man, that would
I'll bring it in here, and we'll fire it up one day out in the front, and we'll get the boys downstairs some pizza too, hey?
Well, once it gets nice out, this parking lot, like I know playoffs are developing and everything in Moss Pit and all that. I mean, I think summer here is going to get turnt with a T.
Turnt.
If you know what I'm saying.
Maybe I'll take it down to the Moss Pit with Zach to come and feed the masses.
Just shelling out pizza pies every couple of seconds.
Pizza's coming and
I'm
going.
there for that. But that would be good. That is good. Pick up the pizza pies today from the Italian Center, as well as the paninos, as well as the baking, the pastries, and everything else. Maybe you need some weird, wild ingredients, so the Italian Center will have you for that. Jay Milne will hit us with a sports update here. Top of the hour, final hour, we're cooking through. We got kind of easy trivia coming up. I do believe YouTube Trev will find a lucky contestant. That's ahead of 3 questions too many in hour number 3. We have our Vegas keyword as well coming up around 8:20, so stay tuned for that. ESPN's Greg Wyshynski as we continue around the hockey world. A weekly rankings of power, an orange and blue breakfast to get you set for Oilers and Coyotes, all on the way in hour 3. But first, a sports update from Glue Guy, Jay Milne.
Big night in the Eastern Conference of the NHL as the playoffs continue to take form. The Washington Capitals defeated the Philadelphia Flyers 2-1 to secure the NHL's final remaining playoff spot. The win eliminated the Flyers, Detroit Red Wings, and Pittsburgh Penguins from playoff contention. Washington will face off against the President Trophy-winning New York Rangers in round 1. As well, with the victory over Toronto, the Florida Panthers clinched first place in the Atlantic Division, which sets up a Battle of Florida as they will face the Tampa Bay Lightning in round 1. This also means that the Boston Bruins will face the Toronto Maple Leafs in round 1. Yes, sign me up. In the Western Conference, the Canucks lock up first place in the division with a 4-1 win over the Flames, while the Jets earn home ice advantage with a 4-3 victory over the Kraken. They will face the Colorado Avalanche in round 1. In the Major Leagues of Baseball, Vladdy Guerrero Jr. reached base 4 times and added 2 ribbies as Yusei Kikuchi won his first game for the Blue Jays as they hand the high-powered New York Yankees their first series loss of this season. They finished the series this afternoon as former Blue Jay Marcus Stroman takes to the mound for the Yankees. Big night in the NBA is the Lakers edge the Pelicans to set up a first-round date with the Denver Nuggets. The Sacramento Kings oust the Golden State Warriors. That means the Golden State Warriors are done. The play-in tournament continues tonight as the 76ers host the Heat and the Chicago Bulls play host to the Atlanta Hawks. In other basketball news, former Raptor Kawhi Leonard will fill the 12th and final roster spot for Team USA as they prepare for the 2024 Paris Olympics. Game 3 of the AJHL Championship went last night, where it saw the Calgary Canucks post 17 shots and 3 goals in the final period as they come back to win 5-4 over the Whitecourt Wolverines. The win gives the Canucks a 3-0 stranglehold on the series, with Game 4 set for tonight in Calgary. This sports update has been brought to you by Clayburn Services. Take your career to the next level with Clayburn Services. They're hiring all positions, including journeymen, bricklayers, and apprentices of all levels. Take advantage of their outstanding mentorship program and work with peace of mind knowing they are an industry leader in safety. Visit ClayburnServices.com or make it easy and give Jeff a call at 780-910-6728.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
Come in! Get me a soda with some ice in it. Come in!
8:07 on the Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, the iHeart and TuneIn radio apps, and as well on YouTube. Lieutenant Eric in for Dustin Nielson this week and half of next alongside Jay Milne, Glue Guy, and YouTube Trev behind the monitors. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999, or get your thoughts and words in the nasty chat. That thing is humming this morning. And if you are in the nasty chat or watching along on YouTube, and even if you aren't, take a pause, take a break, give us a like, give us a sub on there. It helps the algorithm, it helps us, and it helps you too because you come away feeling like you did something good. And it gets your day on the right track, and then you just keep doing that and doing that and doing that. Before you know it, you're having a great day. So like, subscribe, get all those things in. Come after the text of the day. I think we have somebody on the line here for Kind of Easy Trivia. We'll get to that in a minute. As mentioned, your Vegas keyword as well coming up at 8:20. ESPN's Greg Wyshynski will be by. Weekly rankings of power from Jay, and an orange and blue breakfast to preview Oilers and Yotes for tonight as well. And we'll be just getting somebody for the Kind of Easy Trivia. Once again, playing for $25 to Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual. Keyword. Vegas keyword. Flyaway keyword.
When's that coming up?
8:20, I just said.
Oh, I totally missed it. I had a brain fart.
8:20. But good on you for saying it because you can't say it too many times. 8:20. Get it in your brain. Now, we are first
now
morning,
I know, too.
Well, and watch me say 8:20. Now we're all over the clock, and it'll be 8:20. But where's the keyword?
We are chewing through this.
8:20-ish. Yeah, around
Okay,
there.
all right,
After all of this,
all right,
we'll have
all
your
right.
keyword, and we'll get that going. Who's on the line today, Trev?
Get this. We've got an Owen on O Wednesday.
Oh.
Let's go.
Well, let me just, before we bring him in, I might as well bring him in here. Here we get the...
Owen! Get me a soda with some ice in it. I want 2 soft-boiled eggs, white toast, and some of that grape jelly, goddammit. Lord ass.
All right. Well, let's bring in Owen.
Owen!
Owen?
Owen!
Yes. Yeah. How you doing today, man?
Good, yourself?
Great. Thank you for joining in on a web. Have you played before any time in the days past at the old station or here at EST?
I have, yes.
Beautiful. Winning record or?
So far.
Love it. Let's
Two for two.
Let's keep you going. I love the energy this morning, and being that you're Owen, let's get you in here, baby. I'll start the ticker after I read the first question. You understand?
Yep.
Good luck. Which Oiler leads the team in points?
Connor McDavid.
Which Oiler is second in team points?
Leon Draisaitl.
Which Oiler is third in team points?
Zach Hyman.
Which Oiler is fourth in team points?
Evan Bouchard.
Which Oiler is fifth in team points?
Nude.
You feel shame, you know,
We're going streaking!
and then you get free.
So what do you see? You cut me some friggin' slack.
2-2 coming over to get it. Mike Brown, they could go here. They could go. There they go. They could go. There they go.
Evidently, people weren't listening.
Brown's got the right.
The day is mine.
Excuse me.
But don't you see? That's what she was there for. That was the plan.
Here comes Ruck around Williams with Lazar in front. Lazar to the front of the goal. Ruck, wait!
I'm sorry.
Scores!
I'm not into the tie business. This isn't soccer.
Dylan Ruck, absolute shelf as he held off the defender with his right arm, cut back and flipped it. Beautiful goal. It's 2-1 Edmonton.
By the time this case gets to trial, he'll be nothing more than a shrunken head.
Congratulations, you're human.
Eberle back of the net. PRB. PRB tries to jam it in and he scores.
Shuck it long.
Magnus PRB from behind the goal line sneaks one by Backstrom and the game is tied at 1.
And shuck it hard.
And the hockey stuff, I'm sorry. I'm not buying it.
Now they got him.
I'm sorry.
Welcome back.
If you're working, stop everything. Customers will understand. Jane has come back for another crack at Kind of Easy Trivia. How many goals did the Oilers score last night?
0.
All right! What team does Evgeny Malkin play on?
The Nashville Predators.
What sport does Skip Kevin Martin play?
Hockey.
That is incorrect.
Name the sport where someone can get a birdie.
This is a hard knock.
Tennis.
That is ridiculous.
The Oilers play the Predators tonight in what city?
In Nashville.
2.
No
You only got 2.
But if you don't believe your country should come before yourself, you can better serve your country by living somewhere else. Whereby.
Oh, Jane, but you are a legend for the rest of life.
A Club Beat Loop remix awarded this morning to Owen, who, look, much like Jane, you heard there in the Club Beat Loop remix, he got the right answers. They were just maybe not in the par. Look, his name is Owen. You give him the win, right? I mean,
he's got the win.
Was I wrong to ask those questions? I thought this was a Oilers. You should be
Raiders. Jesse came in right away and said that was a sneaky, tricky, kind of easy trivia.
I thought we were all Oilers. I thought we all.
Well, I mean, he got him right, but the order. Surprised.
The order. You should have that off your top. You should go from bottom up.
You would think Hyman over Bouchard just off the top of your head.
You would.
That is incorrect.
But
not if your name's Owen, though.
80 points. Look, and that's just it. I thought whoever we had on this morning would be rifling those things off. They'd be coming after a speed record from Bob the Goat or something. Wasn't the case. But since it was Owen, and since he had the energy,
Owen!
He's off to Mr. Mike's. Congratulations, Owen. This is usually what happens when Dusty is away. Whether it's Tom Gazole in the host seat or somebody else, kind of easy trivia takes a bit of a side cart. Barry the Cheater chimes in. Eric, that was pretty dirty pool, buddy. Unkind, easy trivia questions. They were all Oilers questions. I don't know what else you want. Soccer questions? You want the Champions League? You want a little tennis, do you?
This could become controversial, like you said in the break. I mean, Burglar got in and said he got 3 better than I would have. I think it was the order of.
He got the top 2, and then the others you place them as where you do, right? Like who cares? Who's keeping track?
I don't know, Rick.
Just NHL.com, you know.
I don't know what to say.
He's walking away a winner, and you can be a winner too tomorrow. Kind of Easy Trivia returns at around this time.
Maybe I'll prepare the questions tomorroll for Kind of Easy Trivia.
Please do. I'd love it.
I don't know, man.
Yeah. More Oilers questions, I'd say.
Reverse order.
Yeah. The lowest to the top.
They're going to be the same questions, but in reverse order. Who's the 5th scorer? Yeah.
Name me 5 Oilers.
There you
go. 3 questions too many right now. It's brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda, where dealer principal Mitch Lewicki got 6 out of 5 during Kind of Easy Trivia this morning as he's scoring himself at home. Park Mazda, your dealer for life. You can find where are you on Twitter and social media? Let's get that handle out here. Instagram and
it's at
TikTok.
Jason Milne.
That's it.
At JASON MILNE.
You spelled Jason correctly. There's no Y in there.
It is spelled as you would think. Right.
Yeah.
Not the new age way.
Jason.
JEYSHEN or something like that. Jason. It is JASON Milne MILNE.
Just like that. And that's Twitter. That's Instagram. Same. I love the common handle. That's nice.
Well, I'm 42, so I got after it early, so there was a bit available.
It's not like D Nielson 81.
No. That's his Instagram.
That's his Instagram. You got to get it Dusty on the gram more. Follow him, DM him, make the notifications go off, and he might finally get on the Instagram a bit more. But 3 questions too many, once again, brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda. Question number 1, and YouTube, Trev, if you want to play along too, chime in and go for the gusto here. Question 1, favorite Arizona Coyotes uniform ever, all time. We're going through the full list. We'll get your maroon head of the Coyotes. We'll take your maroon body of the Coyotes. We'll take your Kachina, whites, blacks, greens, right? Didn't they have a green at one point or something like that? But best Arizona Coyotes look for you boys.
I like the white Kachina. I'd say of any of the Kachinas, the white was kind
clean,
it was the crispest version. Crisp version of the Kachina. I also don't mind the newer one that they had where the coyote was howling at the moon.
The howling coyote, yes.
I think that was nice and simple as well. That
and
would
there's
be my
just the
top
head
2.
of the Kachina as well. Yeah,
That's
one.
right.
And they had some different, I'm looking at a purple one. I'm looking at an orange one. They had a
all.
lot of looks, didn't they, for your poverty franchise of the National Hockey League? Trev, I think you kind of answered earlier in the show. But.
Yeah, it's got to be either the home or away, I think. But actually, no, I might agree with you. The away is just slick. Like the white, it's got nice contrast. So I'd probably go with the away Kachina as well. But they got a wide variety. They really do. Not bad, and it's surprising because the colors, they're not really my favorite colors, but they've done a pretty good job, I'd say, with with their jersey history. Just looking at them now, so yeah, but it's the away Kachina for me.
I had a black Kachina at one point, a CCM, back in the day, old brand type of thing. But it's a great look. Most of their look. The one I hate, I guess, would just be Arizona in plain writing across. I don't know if you've seen that one at the desert motif at the bottom.
Well, they also had that one with the coyote face looking down, and it was like half covered with a goalie mask. It looked really raggedy.
Many looks.
That was not a healthy coyote.
Not a healthy coyote indeed.
No.
Question number 2. When it comes to the Oilers, which team would you rather want in the opening round, the Vegas Golden Knights or the Los Angeles Kings? And again, I know this is a discussion point that we've been having for days, if not weeks. But right now, I'm going to ride with my guy, Watiti. And I'm going to say the Las Vegas Golden Knights. You got to beat them anyways. Or at least the best, so you might as well get them out of the way. There was somebody that chimed in earlier that said that they are getting some players back, and they might, take off trending upwards as the playoffs go on, given the fresh legs. So yeah, if I had to choose one, gun to head, I'm going to say the Las Vegas Knights.
Look at us. Great minds think alike. I'm still unmoved, and just thinking about it, the Vegas Golden Knights. If his roles reversed, they do face the Vancouver Canucks. Are you wanting to play the Vegas Golden Knights after beating the Pacific Division winners in the second round? I'd like to take them out in the first round as opposed to facing them in the second when they have quite a bit of confidence. So that's another reason why.
And question number 3 to wrap up the segment. How many games will it take for the Bruins to bounce the Leafs in the opening round?
I like the way you phrased that. I think this game goes minimum 6, potentially 7.
That's fair.
I think it's going to be a banger of a series. What can you say?
Yeah, I'm taking the contrarian, the Leafs suck or whatever. But yes, I hear you. I mean,
Bad blood?
It should be great.
History?
06, that type of thing.
I can't wait for this series. That's going to be so fun to watch.
You're not picking the Leafs, though, are you? Not hard or anything, just head. I mean, this is not
and it's interesting because after last year, when was their last series win before last year? It was crazy.
It was against the Bruins. Can't piss a drop in the postseason.
Yeah, but I thought wow, the Leafs finally did it. I honestly thought they were gonna go pretty far, and then the next round they were out just like that. So it's gonna be interesting to see now that they do have a series win. Now that this team, for the most part, hasn't really changed. They know they can win a series. But against the Boston Bruins, a Bruins team that has kind of had their number for quite some time. And so it would be so satisfying to see the Bruins just sweep them in 4.
That's what we all want, eh?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for. Let's say Bruins in 4.
Yeah. Matthews is still on 69, right?
Yes.
That's right. So he stays on 69 and they get swept in 4 by the Bruins. Woo!
What a magical scenario that would be.
Would that be something? Flick the fingers and they're out of there. That's certainly a scenario that could happen, and probably one that most around these parts dream of. Bruins in 6, Tango says on the nasty chat. Tango also doesn't care about the opponent, one of those people as well that give me whatever it is and we'll take it. Green Kachina. Yeah, I have time for the green Kachina as well. But 3 questions too many, brought to you again by the great staff at Park Mazda and dealer principal Mitch Lewicki. Great staff, great leader down there. Check them out, parkmazda.ca. Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park. Hey, boys, look at the time, 8:20 as promised. Hey, look at what we do here. When we say something on the show, we carry through with it. And as we mentioned, 8:20 is the time for the Vegas keyword, and it is 8:20 right now. So get your phones out. I know. We like to preface this and warn you and prepare you. It shouldn't be this case. We're at the latter stages of this contest. I do believe we're getting the winner next Friday. You'll be flying down to Vegas, courtesy of our friends at Fly YEG. But get out your phone now. You don't want to miss the call. You want to text in the word. You text in the word, and then don't put your phone away. Don't turn it off. Keep the phone by you and wait for the call from Trev. That's the key part of this. People have been texting in, and they'll lose their phone or step away from it for a second. I do the same thing. I wait for a call from some company or business. They say, we'll phone you back tomorrow. And I don't have my ringer on. It's always silent. So you're sitting here, and then you look, nothing, and then 1 second, you look back, missed call. And they've already left a voicemail. It's amazing how it happens.
It's too late.
It can happen in the blink of an eye, but be by your phone right now. We're going to have a word 4 times per day on Edmonton Sports Talk. It's your chance to win a trip to Vegas, 2 nonstop flights, 3 nights accommodation, and tickets for a Cirque du Soleil show presented by Fly YEG and the LVCVA. Nonstop flights to over 50 destinations. Your sports trip starts with a nonstop flight from Fly YEG. Visit www.flyyeg.com for more. The word today, please, Jay, if you will.
The word today.
780-218-9999.
Rewards.
Rewards.
Rewards. Plural.
Rewards. Rewards?
REWARDS. That is in rewards as the rewards you will win.
Caesars. I'm looking Caesars and Caesars rewards. MGM rewards.
Tommy knows all about rewards. He's Mr. Rewards in Vegas.
I had to follow him around for about an hour of his promise of a free Jell-O shooter because he got this. He's like, man, you want to do a Jell-O? Yeah, you're in Vegas. You're buzzed. You're feeling good. And text in rewards right now, 780-218-9999.
Oh, they're flowing. This is beautiful to see.
He's like, guys, I got this MGM rewards. And he talked about this prior to the trip, I think. Hey, he signed up for the app and he's getting the way he talked about it, he's just flushing rewards. Like he's doing snow angels and reward money and units and everything. So we're down there. We're having a great afternoon. And he's like, hey, you want to do a shot? On me, free from the rewards. I said, yeah, I can't turn that down. But to get like the process of getting this thing was just, we're walking around. We finally find a guy that will take the reward, and it's one of those plastic Jell-O shooter things. And the thought was there with Tommy. I'll never he's a great friend and a real good coworker, and his heart was in the right place. But if he ever has rewards, run as fast as you can the other direction.
See, I used to have a guy that worked for me, and he went to the races a lot at the old Northlands.
Yeah,
and he would use his rewards card a lot because there were perks if you were a regular there. Like he got to go to Laughlin, Nevada on a couple trips that were they won because they were in the rewards pool.
Yep.
Now, Tom doesn't live in Vegas. So it's kind of interesting to know that you have rewards for MGM, given that you don't live anywhere remotely close to it. But, I memean, hey, Lieutenant Eric, rewards are rewards. Let's not forget that, okay? Let's not forget. Let's not hold them, in a lower standard.
I just, the process to get this Jell-O shot down my gullet was...
and a Jell-O shot.
I've never worked so hard for a Jell-O shot. And I'll take you back to the later teen years in the nightclubs and all that, but no, that was that'll haunt me. That was the worst.
Jell-O shots,
like pulling teeth, all for a Jell-O shot. Free beer, I'd go through a process. I'd do a little bit of work. We need to go here, and okay, well, fine, it's a beer, I
can see more value in getting a nice ice cold one.
It sucks you in like that. Did somebody text in rewards? Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, no, not awards. It's rewards. I think Jay took the time to spell it out for you, Jeremy. So please text in rewards, and YouTube Trev will get somebody on the line here as well, and we will qualify them for this trip down to Vegas. Once again, courtesy Fly YEG. And you can listen again, another word on the Hangout later today, and as well on the Lock Shop. And 2 guys today, Oil Stream. 2 guys. Tommy's in for the Oil Stream today, Wednesday. Yeah. So Oil Stream as well today. So keep listening for the words. They'll continue on throughout the day here on Edmonton Sports Talk. And we look forward to that. Just ahead of our next guest, ESPN's Greg Wyshynski. He'll be coming up here shortly for Metals Supermarkets. We'll go around the NHL with him. And that's ahead of Weekly Rankings of Power as well. Jay Milne will have that.
Hey, we can smash that like button now
on the YouTube
just to get us over 300.
Where are we sitting at right now? What's the score here?
We're getting in there.
284 on the on YouTube. I would say so, Jay. I mean that's.
I mean we still might be able to track down 4.
4's not out of the question. I think you always want to set a bit of a bar to achieve. And
let's do this.
Perfection is never.
If you haven't smashed the thumbs up yet, I'll give you an out. Okay. Wait till you hear my weekly rankings of power. If you like them, smash the like. If you don't. That's a fair deal, wouldn't you say, Rick?
I'm taking back my like. I would to give it
I'm
back.
going to take mine back too.
But don't take back legs. We're not saying that. But the weekly rankings, yes, non-prefaced. It's a surprise to me. It's a surprise YouTube chef, so I can't wait for that. As it'll be a different flavor for weekly rankings, brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club, Orange and Blue Breakfast as well, to come later on. I guess sports update. Sports update first, and we'll get a. Yeah, let's do a sports update. Final one of the morning. Jay Milne will have it here for you. And then we'll get into Wyshynski. We'll get a caller on the line, weekly rankings, and Orange and Blue Breakfast to wrap up the show. What's going on in sports, Jay?
It was a big night in the Eastern Conference of the NHL as the playoffs continue to take form. The Washington Capitals defeated the Philadelphia Flyers 2-1 and secured the NHL's final remaining playoff spot. This win eliminated the Flyers, Detroit Red Wings, and the Pittsburgh Penguins from playoff contention. Washington will face off against the President Trophy-winning New York Rangers in round 1. As well, with the victory over the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Florida Panthers clinched their first place in the Atlantic Division, which sets up a battle of Florida as they will face the Tampa Bay Lightning in round 1. This also means that the Boston Bruins, yes, the Boston Bruins will face the Toronto Maple Leafs in round 1. Buckle up, this should be a good one. In the Western Conference, the Canucks lock up first place in the division with a 4-1 win over the Flames, while the Jets earn home ice advantage with a 4-3 victory over the Kraken. In the Major League of Baseball, Vladdy Guerrero Jr. reached base 4 times and added 2 ribbies as Yusei Kikuchi won his first game for the Blue Jays as they hand the high-powered New York Yankees their first series loss this season. They finish the series this afternoon as former Blue Jay Marcus Stroman takes the mound for the Yankees. Kevin Gausman is scheduled for the Jays. It was a big night in the NBA as well as the Lakers edged the Pelicans to set up a first-round date with the Denver Nuggets. Good luck. Rest in peace, Lakers. The Sacramento Kings took over the game and beat the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors are out, thus, I think, essentially ending the Golden State Warriors dynasty. The play-in tournament continues tonight as the Philadelphia 76ers host the Heat and the Chicago Bulls play host to the Atlanta Hawks. In other basketball news, former Raptor Kawhi Leonard will fill the 12th and final roster spot for Team USA as they set for the 2024 Paris Olympics. Game 3 of the AJHL Championship went last night where it saw the Calgary Canucks post 17 shots and 3 goals in the final period as they come back to win 5-4 over the Whitecourt Wolverines. The win gives the Canucks a 3-0 stranglehold on the series with Game 4 set for tonight in Calgary. This sports update has been brought to you by Big Mama and Papa Pizzeria. BMPP is a real pizzeria restaurant, not just a delivery pizza chain. Serving authentic Italian cuisine with their made in-house pizza dough, traditional tomato sauce, and fresh toppings. Each pizza is cooked to perfection. A pizza experience that you've been waiting for. Visit them at 12848 97th Street. That's 12848 97th Street. Or order today at bmpp.ca or call 587-746-0550.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
It's the Nielson Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, the iHeart and TuneIn radio apps, and as well on YouTube, where we just cracked the 300 like mark. Great job, Nasties. And again, I said I'm not gonna hound you for this stuff. I'm not gonna get on my knees and beg in front of the camera here like some sort of hostage video or anything like that. I just like what you like, do what you want to do. But certainly when Dusty's gone, you be you. But we want to kind of. We want to do this. We want to show Dusty what we can do when he's not here. And not just us here in the room, but you as well. Let's kind of take this thing and dream a little big. Why not? We said we'd identify one day during this week that he's away for a big like day, but it seems like a lot of you maybe want to turn it into today. Who knows? We've hit 300. We're at 325. I'll say this. If we get to 400 by the end of the show, we'll play something out of the vault for you, a song or some sort of wacky crap.
Wow.
Only we can do here at EST. But let's get to 400. because why not? And hit the sub as well. And we do have a qualifier for the Vegas trip ahead of Greg Wyshynski here.
Yes, we do. Matt is on the line.
Matt, Iwanic. Matt,
Big Maple.
Big Maple.
Oh,
the better Matt. How you doing, man?
Good. Really good now.
Yeah, first time qualifying or?
First time, and hopefully it won't be the last before next week.
That's the attitude. That's the attitude you need. You've been to Vegas before then, have you?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Okay, like a long time? Like this is pre-internet?
Yeah, like 10 years ago probably. Okay. Not pre-internet, no. I'm only 36. Come on.
I don't want to date you too much here. I just don't want to kind of get the timeline right. But what would you do if you win this trip? Where are you going? Who are you bringing with you? And what's the plan?
I'm going to let Zacticum and Trev fight it out. And we're going to see UFC at the Sphere.
Looks like I'm going to Vegas.
Well, good luck, Big Maple, and I guess it'll be you and you two. I do like that they both fight in the octagon to determine who goes on the trip to watch the fight.
We can set one up in the parking lot.
Why? Free pizzas for all. But Big Maple, congratulations on the qualifying this morning, and good luck the rest of the way, man.
Okay, thanks, guys. Have a good day.
That's Matt, the qualifier this morning, Big Maple, a.k.a. in the nasty chat in the inbox as well. So congrats to him. Your next chance to qualify coming up between 9 and 11 in the Hangout with the one and only Matt Iwanic. As we are joined now, it looks like he is ready to go as well. ESPN's Greg Wyshynski, working hard as always, and we always appreciate his time. And it's brought to you by the fine folks as well at Metals Supermarkets. Check them out online. Greg, let's get right into it. And if you could kindly take us back to last night in the Eastern Conference. And I do feel like this, whenever the 30 for 30 gets made, it'll be one of those episodes where at, whatever the time is, but it's minute by minute to when this goalie was pulled, to when this goal was scored, to when Torts looked up at the Jumbotron trying to make sense of it all. But walk us through last night, ultimately the Caps winning out and doing what they needed to do to secure that final wildcard spot.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it was a 1-1 game between Washington and the Flyers, and the Flyers had to win in regulation, basically, to even have a chance at any kind of tiebreaker scenario. But it was also contingent on the Detroit Red Wings losing in regulation with the Montreal Canadiens. So the sequence was basically that Detroit gets to overtime against Montreal, and then the Flyers pull their goalie in an effort to win in regulation, even though it doesn't really matter for them anymore. And Tortorella said, I guess, after the game that he only learned that Detroit had gone to overtime after the Capitals scored into that empty net to take a 2-1 lead and eventually win the game in regulation, thus eliminating everybody, the Flyers, the Red Wings, the Penguins. And so there's a bit of controversy as far as, like, what did you know and when did you know it? Should you have still pulled your goalie if you knew that another team had a shot at the playoffs? And, if it was any other coach except for Tortorella, I might be like, hey, what's going on here? But he's such a singularly focused, all about the winning guy, and look no further than the evidence that the Flyers are going to miss the playoffs by like a point or two, completely screw themselves in the draft lottery because of John Tortorella, that I don't think that there was really anything nefarious going on last night.
Well, they finished in kind of that purgatory zone. Like, and looking at them prior to the season, you're like, okay, well, this is trade bait here, and you're kind of hoping for maybe that lottery type of thing. But sticking around, and then at the bottom of the ninth, you're out.
Yeah, it sucks. It's not good. Like, Keith Jones and Danny Briere, I talked to them before the season, and we had an entire conversation. I wrote an entire story about how do you sell a rebuild to your fan base in Philly. Well, they didn't have to, because the Flyers were good for most of the season. They were in a playoff spot until like the last month of the season. Then Tortorella is pulling out every trick he's got in his bag, and he's, it's like watching a jockey at the end of the Kentucky Derby giving the horse the whip every millisecond, trying to get it over the line, and it didn't work. And so you're right. At the end of the day, all of this was for nothing. All of this was to knock the rebuild back a little bit, for this season. Yeah, they've got some good young players and more on the way, but they really could have used another year in the tank, if we're being honest. Unfortunately, John Tortorella is the absolutely last coach you want in order to facilitate that kind of thing, and he did what he does. This is not the first or the last time we've seen the John Tortorella team nudge up to the bubble and then fail to get over the hump, and it happened again this year.
I thought Greg, your tweet last night summed it up perfectly in saying, "Congrats to the Caps, but boo for denying maximum chaos." I think that was the sentiment shared throughout the NHL, because that could have created some hairy situations. But I want to move on. I want to talk about. I saw a blog that you were a part of that was tailored to the Bruins-Leafs series. Obviously, this is going to be a passion-filled series. I mean, the rivalry's there. The level of compete on both sides is there. Where do you see this series going? Is there a significant edge in goaltending to the Bruins? Does that play a factor down in the series? What do you see happening as I think for Western Conference people looking at that Eastern Conference, that as well as the series in Florida are the two that are kind of the cream rising to the top. But specifically, where do you see and how do you see this Boston-Toronto series playing out?
I haven't broken it down completely yet, but I mean, I do kind of favor the Leafs here a bit for one reason, which is that I think at some point the Bruins center depth could be exposed in the playoffs, and it might be this series. I mean, the Leafs go 3 deep, and the Bruins have had been a donut all year. With due respect to the jobs that Charlie Coyle and Pavel Zacha have done. I mean, I think that's, as much as the goaltending could be a big advantage for the Bruins, I think the center depth on the Leafs could be their big advantage in this series. I also think that at some point the Bruins are going to miss Patrice Bergeron, not only as a center, but as a guy that can neutralize another team's top scoring unit, and they don't have that anymore, and I think that's going to really benefit the Leafs as well. That being said, the minute that the Leafs see the spoked bee, they lose their minds. And so there's always the chance that we're going to see the same old habits creep into this thing, people taking dumb penalties that lead to suspensions, losing in game 7s. It's the whole thing that defines the Toronto-Boston rivalry. But I will say that when I thought about this matchup potentially happening this year, the first place I went was Caps-Penguins, the years that the Caps won the Cup, where you have to exercise your demons. You have to overcome your tormentors. And if you do, it can catapult you. It could send you off on a journey that's farther than you've ever traveled in the playoffs. And I see that opportunity here for the Leafs if they can get past Boston.
It's a heck of a drug, Greg, and one that when you talk about Oilers and a potential Golden Knights matchup, I think you can kind of relate that same theme and getting over the hump.
Absolutely.
Sticking out east, though, and I just want to get to a transaction yesterday as Granato out in Buffalo. Don Granato, the Sabres moving on from their head coach, their assistant, and video as well. Where did it go wrong for Kevin Adams in this hire, and where does he take this thing next? Is it 13 years now missing the postseason for the Sabres?
Wouldn't you like to hear that conversation between the GM and the video guy? Video guy's like, "You're just firing me because you're firing Granato, right?" And the guy, your GM's like, "No, actually, your video work is terrible. We don't like your edits."
He was fired first.
You can't. You're saying all your offside reviews suck.
Yeah.
No, I listen. I think it's interesting because from an outsider's perspective, this seems like the kind of decision you make if you want to then bring in a guy that has more experience in the playoffs, maybe has played for a cup, maybe has a pedigree like a Todd McLellan or even Lindy Ruff to go back to Buffalo, which is something a lot of Sabres fans seem to be enthusiastic about. But at the same time, in reading the local Buffalo reporters, they think their AHL coach, Seth Apert, could be the one who ends up taking over the job after Granato goes. And that's the other direction you can go. You can go kind of that rings in the room, veteran success. Here's the voice that's going to turn our young team into a contender direction. Or you can go with, here's a guy that coached most of these guys in the A that's younger, that understands them better, and that can maybe unlock some of the things that we're hoping can be unlocked in these guys. It's a weird deal because I feel like Granato was that dude in some ways, the teacher, and they need more of the professor or headmaster at this point. But they have an affinity for their guy in the A, so we'll see where they go.
ESPN's Greg Wyshynski with us, Lieutenant Eric in for Dustin Nielson this morning, Jay Milne and Glue Guy alongside. Just quickly, Greg, playoffs about to start. I mean, we're kind of regular season. I know Oilers-Coyotes tonight, we're not too focused on that, but where can people find your work and what can people expect as the Stanley Cup playoffs are about to get underway, and what do you got cooking coming up here at ESPN?
I got tons. I mean, my whole bracket will be up on Friday, I believe, on ESPN.com. I've, for the U.S. fans that may have not been following the NHL as closely as we all have, I have the Lapsed Fans Guide coming out on Friday as well. And then today on the site, The Hart Trophy race is bonkers. I know there's a lot of McDavid fans out there that would like to see Connor win it again. I think he could. I think McKinnon could. I think Matthews could. I think Quinn Hughes could. I think Yossi could. I think Pasternak could. I think Panarin could. There are no wrong answers in the Hart Trophy race for the first time in a very long time. But I do think there's a correct answer, and that is Nikita Kucherov. And I have a case for Kucherov to win MVP on the site today that you can read. And I think I spell it out pretty clearly that this guy has been the most valuable player in the league this year.
Always interesting takes, Greg, and we appreciate them, and we really appreciate your time this morning. Enjoy the rest of your week, and happy Stanley Cup playoffs. We'll talk next Wednesday.
Absolutely. Thanks, boys.
There you have it. Greg Wyshynski, ESPN, does some fine work down there covering the league stateside. You can find him at ESPN, and I know in this market, sometimes he can ruffle a few feathers, but that's good. That's good thing. It's not hard with him. He's going with the head in a lot of these things, and he backs it up with his work. So you can follow Wyshynski. He'll be taking you through the Stanley Cup playoffs under the ESPN banner, and we thank him for his time this morning. 8:42 on the Nielson Show. Lieutenant Eric once again in for Dustin Nielson. We have Glue Guy Jay Milne alongside, and YouTube Trev behind the monitors. I guess let's dive right into this thing. I can't wait anymore. It's the weekly rankings of power. There's no big grand intro or anything. I can. Do you want to hear? I can play.
Well, it is Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll play some Owen for you here.
You black bastard! You tell them to take me away. I want 2 soft-boiled eggs, white toast, and some of that grape jelly, goddammit.
There you go. So it's the weekly rankings of power, in which Jay Milne will be doing a weekly rankings this morning, and it's brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club, offering premier conditions, top-notch service, and unmatched value. The Ranch Golf Club would be a great choice for your first round of the season. Next round, opening soon. Book tee times by visiting theranchgolf.com. Great food and drink out there as well for someone like myself who doesn't really get around golfing too much, but likes to caddy and enjoy all the other extracurricular thing that goes along with the game of golf. Great hangout as well this morning as well. Maddie and Tommy joined by Mac T and Sean Bell. So a hockey-heavy hangout this morning from 9 to 11.
Stay tuned.
Have your next keyword as well. But weekly rankings of power. Jay Milne, Glue Guy, what do you got for us today?
Well, like you said, if you've been saving your save it for now. Save no longer. It is time. So, yes, we alluded to it earlier in the show, but I'll give you a bit of backstory if you missed the first hour. I told the boys, what do you think of me ranking NBA players for this? Because obviously the big man is not in the big seat, so it would have been a great time to leave said LeBron James off that list just to say I did it. But in the spirit of hockey, in the spirit of playoffs, I decided to go with the top 10 NHL playoff traditions. And feel free to chime in, okay? These are my rankings, but I'm open to discussion. I'm open to omission.
Top 10 Stanley Cup playoff traditions.
Yeah. You want to count them down for me?
I love being in the catbird seat. Number 10.
Okay. The handshake line. Okay, that is an excellent tradition. You've just beat the you-know-what out of your opponents for the last, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, yet you have to go look them in the eye and shake their hand and say, good series. Nobody knows exactly how long this has been going on, by the way.
Yeah.
But there are some thoughts that this has been going on for over 100 years. And nobody knows the origins. No, that's true.
We gotta,
we don't. But nobody knows the exact origin of when this started. But it is said to be been going on for over 100 years. So number 10, the handshake line,
and memed by Jay Woodcroft of seasons past, and waiting at the bench for the handshake.
100%.
I mean, that lean,
his hand on his hip,
that kind of ties hand in hand.
That's Mr. Lean.
Mr. Lean, absolutely. Number 9.
And this is where you got a little. Once again, these are my rankings.
Sure,
okay?
yeah. Chime in, 780-218-9999.
I couldn't leave the octopus toss off of this list. I mean, it is just
a little low, in my opinion.
Well, you haven't heard the rest of the list. Brought to us by the Detroit Red Wings, this tradition dates back to the days when it took 8 wins to lift the cup. Hence, the habit of littering the ice with an 8-legged sea creature.
I never knew that. What
now
did I
you
do
know.
on the show this morning? Well, isn't that something?
Now you know.
Now and just recently too. I mean, it's funny I mentioned that because over the last couple of games, the Wings and those 2 the other night at Detroit, and 2 or 3 got thrown on the ice, and then they do the comeback afterwards. I mean, that's poetry in motion. And then whenever I think, it's run all the time, and I think it's one of the most run promos that Grapes did. but him fishing that octopus out of Lake Michigan, and he's got the backwards hat, and for some reason he's wearing
tank top or something.
Tank top. Didn't need to wear the tank top, but and there's no they start the video you watch, and there's no music, but he's like, all right, and he's lifting this thing out of the water. He's like, oh, you gotta go. And I mean, you watch that today, and you still get pumped up. I don't care what time of day it is, but
Pete is just losing their mind.
Oh, but yeah, I mean, the octopus, fine pick there, and just 9, number 8.
Well, this one, it's not really a tradition as much as it is just a fact, but playing injured / taking a puck to the face, losing a tooth. I mean, what else do you have to say? Happens every playoffs where someone is playing injured, playing through an injury, taking a puck to the chops and having to, coming back on the bench with 7 stitches in your upper lip. That's a playoff tradition. It needed to be on this list.
Everybody's banged up at this time of year, but during the playoffs, you can kind of showcase a bit more.
Absolutely.
It's not because during the season it's shut up, you're tough.
Take the rest of the game off. But
here,
here,
this year, you're getting.
Connor
through it.
McDavid takes a high stick and his lips. He's coming back on the bench.
You don't even bandage him up.
You know it.
Let him bleed on the ice as a sign.
You know it. So that was number 8.
Number 7 in the top 10 of Stanley Cup playoff traditions.
The day with the cup. Taking the cup home after you've won it. It's a relatively new tradition. It only dates back to the early 1990s, which obviously allows the winning team to provide the cup to their players for one day in which they can do with it what they please.
Just the 90s, eh?
Funny story. After the 1998 Red Wings won the cup, Chris Draper took the opportunity to, and we've all seen it, you put your infant child or daughter in the cup and she completely soiled herself.
Yeah, and then next guy's eating poutine out of there.
Yeah, right. You can't tell the difference. But, it begs the question, what would you do? Where would you take it? Would you take it out to Saskatchewan? Would you take it to a curling rink?
I mean, I would think that if I'm a player and I reach that height and pinnacle of my career, I'd want to take it somewhere and showcase it to the people in the places that got me to that point. I know it sounds
You'd bring it here,
lame and chintzy, but yeah, you have to go here. You bring it here, bring it down to the spa boys downstairs, right? Get it, maybe set it in the spa and just have its time. Just as the cup can relax on its own. I'm not in the spa. We're not. It's just the cup in there on its own. And then again, going off to this, I like this parking lot party that we've kind of started.
Yeah,
you got the pizza oven. We got a teeth shaving my head.
Yeah,
and now we can have the cup down there as well. I really love it.
Look at that.
Hey, Mac T in the
house. Speaking of playing injured, puck to the face. Mac T just walked in.
Yeah.
What a sight that is.
Nice to see you. 7.
Number 6. Number 6. Your name being engraved on the Stanley Cup. Obviously, this is just it's pretty dang cool. It's there for the rest of time. Nobody can take that away from you. Similar to, a guy like Jed Roberts, who said that that's one of the coolest things that he's seen on the Grey Cup is his dad winning the Grey Cup for the Ottawa Rough Riders back in the day, and his name below it as a member of what was the Edmonton Eskimos.
No one's taking that away from you. Eh? That's
you can't. No, you can't.
That's a tradition, won't be moved.
Okay, we're on to number 5, and Noodles alluded to it earlier when he was in Arizona. And when I think of this term, I actually think of the Winnipeg Jets more than anything, but the whiteouts. Right, the whiteouts during the playoffs where you have the sea of white, when
you wore white when you were the home team.
Well, and I gotta say, and it pains me to say, but
say it.
The sea of red was pretty well done by the Flames in their last playoff run.
It's a strong color.
It is. It
translates well.
It's too bad. You can't really do the sea of orange here. It is orange, but there's obviously the third jerseys, the blues, the whites.
You have a mix, a generous mix. Yeah.
But if there was a sea of orange, like a true sea of orange, and I know usually they try to do the towels and whatnot, but that is spectacular to see. So number 5, whiteouts.
The Avalanche used to, in their early days, they'd have the towels going quite good. They do that avalanche warning thing prior to the games.
Yes.
Yes. That was 5. Number 4?
Got to go with playoff beards.
Number 4.
Yeah. So it was the playoff.
Unless you're the Leafs,
was started,
or
they don't even know because
Lou Lamoriello teams.
They don't even know what the playoff beard thing is because this didn't start until about the 1980s when the New York Islanders went on their run and won titles between 1980 and 83. In fact, fun fact, they say that this tradition faded away when the Oilers went on their run with Gretzky and whatnot because they wanted to buck the trend of what the New York Islanders had done with the playoff beards. So obviously it's taken on a new meaning here and a new form, and you get to see Nuge's lip hair grow over the course of the thing. So it's fun, especially for
It's great for the guys that are clean shaven every second day. Right?
Well, the game's so much younger now too. So literally, it's like it's so funny to see these little things growing off their lips. So number 4 playoff beards.
Number 3, we're the top 3 now in Stanley Cup playoff traditions.
Top three. And I must say the first number 1 is a little bit biased, but forgive me. Number 3, no touching of the Eastern and Western Conference trophies.
Yeah.
Right?
And so when did this, you had the numbers here, did this start at a time, or is this, that's undetermined, eh?
It's undetermined as to when this became a thing, but one of the biggest, I guess, stories around it was in 2012 when the LA Kings won the West in Phoenix, who we were talking about earlier. They didn't even pack this on their team plane. They had team personnel take it back in the trunk of a car.
No, nothing to do with it.
They didn't want to see it, didn't touch it, didn't want to be around it. I think that is funny. Now, we have seen players cross the line in recent years. I'm not exactly sure what the stats would say on it, but it is kind of a cool, and it is a huge thing. Are they going to touch it?
Would you boys touch it?
No.
Okay.
It's like you can't touch the Stanley Cup or hold it until you win
it's easy to say in this room when we're...
I don't know. The job's not done. I guess that's the premise behind it.
Very good point.
We are on to number 2.
Number 2.
And this is the best, I think. This is up there, 1A, 1B. Sudden death overtime.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The longest OT affair we saw in the modern history was Philadelphia's Keith Primo, who potted the winning goal against Pittsburgh in 2000 after 12 minutes into the 5th extra period. 8 periods.
Did we have one go long last year as well? Kind of flirting with the 4
I think there was one that was like, there was.
I love it.
There was history alert.
Give me 7. Give me 8. Give me 10.
Give it all.
I want a game, the Stanley Cup playoffs, still continuing while we're coming in to do the show in the morning. If there's any way we could kind of get that done.
But that's the pinnacle. That is the pinnacle of a tradition that happens only in the NHL.
Yeah.
That game does not stop until the puck crosses the line.
The golden goal, if I could borrow from a soccer term.
Absolutely.
Number 1 in the top 10 Stanley Cup playoff traditions on your weekly rankings of power, brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club. Jay Milne.
It's got to be the Oilers fans singing the national anthem. It's got to be.
You're going in house.
It's got to be. You know what? Like I said it. It was biased, but I believe it. It is so cool. Other teams have tried to do it. You know when it started? It started in the 06 playoff run when in San Jose, some hardcore San Jose fans would boo the national anthem.
Right.
So when the Oilers returned to what was Rexall Place, and they were led by our legendary anthem singer Paul Lorio, he held the mic up, and the rest is history. Now Rob Clark still continues that tradition, does it from the stands. I just think it just gives me chills thinking about talking about it.
Him in the stands are funny because whenever they'll have the angle of him but panned out, so you're like, where? And you're doing the Where's Waldo for about 5 seconds before it zooms in on him, and you can finally find him. But
so those are my weekly rankings of power.
I think that's a pretty good list. Look, there's not a lot of people adding to it here from the. So I think that's a good job. Everybody's like, "Oh, you stupid idiot! You should have had this on there." So, Rip City Seth playoff waves, maybe the wave. Hey, he's looking at that. Sudden death is great until it's your team, and then it sucks. And that's all these maybe from a neutral point of view. No Florida Panthers rats. From Lucas, disgusting, absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, that was one. But octopus toss, rats. It's not even close.
I'd say more unique things to certain teams getting thrown on the ice.
Well, the rats
I like that, and it was the rubber, so it's not like you're hurting anybody or anything. But I know there was meat here, right? Beef. People were tossing beef.
Well, it's better than a
round
roast.
Just
say that.
Well, yeah,
a rump roast,
a roast, a full roast. Maybe a side of something. Cash chimes in the nasty chat. Where is he here? Dusty touched the heavy hockey trophy before the tournament, and we lost. So there's your proof in the pudding right there.
Well, if you like that ranking and you haven't smashed that like button, you're obligated to now. If you didn't like it, well, you can go screw off.
362 right now, the likes on YouTube. We are at 8:55. We're coming up against it. I don't want to steal too much time ahead of the Hangout this morning.
No, we got to get there.
It's a big one. Mac T, Sean Bell. We'll be joined by hosts Matt Iwanek and Tom Gazzola. So stick around for that. They're going to have your Vegas keyword as well. Orange and Blue Breakfast. I'm going to go over this real quickly here. It's brought to you by Mobile One. Once again, they are gracious sponsors. You were good. Orange and Blue Breakfast brought to you by Mobile One and Blue Water Lubricants. The Blue Water Group was founded in 1974. It's Canada's largest independent distributor of mobile-branded lubricants. They want to thank everyone for 50 great years. The Arizona Coyotes will line up tonight. Kerfoot between Keller and Schmaltz. Cooley between Gunther and Krause. Stamkos, McBain between Doan and Michelli, and Yannick between Carson and O'Brien. The defensive pairings are Moser and Dursey, Valimaki, Kesselring, and Kolochanok and Brown. And in the net, Karel Vejmelka and Connor Ingram are the goalies that the Coyotes will be sporting. For the Oilers, as terms of far as what we know right now in terms of anyone sitting tonight, but McDavid between Hyman and Henrique, Draisaitl between Fogle, Nugent, Hopkins, McLeod centering line 3 between Perry and Holloway, Carrick, Brown, and Janmark dot your fourth line with your pairings of Nurse, Ceci, Ekholm, Bouchard, Kulak, Desharnais. And I guess the question I'm looking at here, what is it, Pickard tonight, boys? What would you do? I guess handling goaltending tonight. You go Pickard tonight, Skins tomorrow, get him ramped up for the postseason, or anything different?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah, Pickard, he was, a lot of people were kind of like, he should have played for his birthday. He didn't. You need to get some reps in for Calvin Pickard against the Arizona Coyotes. I don't see why not.
Why not?
Key to a win tonight, Jay Milne? Do you got anything tonight? I mean, again, it's health is paramount. We're not really caring in terms of points collection or anything such as that.
That last game they played was so dominating, and this is a similar opponent. This should be a domination. Don't take the foot off the gas. You might as well coast into the playoffs on a good feeling. I know said Matt Iwanek would disagree with that take, but I don't. I believe in good vibes moving forward, and if you're playing good going into the playoffs, that usually bodes well. So yeah, don't take the foot off the gas. And Nuge snipes one from on a power play. From the high slot.
He called it. That's your cool bet hotline of the day right there from Glue Guy Jay Milne. Get the Nuge goal tonight. Follow him to the bank. But an emotional night down in Mullet Arena this evening. The final howl for those Coyotes. So Oilers will be there trying to spoil the party, and I'm sure the crowd will be a generous mix of white, orange, and blue. Pretty much does it here for the show. We're going to get into the wrap. Jay, if you just want to indulge me here and take the this is what Bruce and the boys down at William Huff are sporting for the Oilers playoff run here. Great little banner they've gifted us. They got some stickers and stuff as well, so check them out. It's William Huff. They are the sponsor of the wrap to wrap up the show, and here it is. If you want your place to look as good as ours, visit the team at William Huff.
Those can be bought, right? Those packages can be bought. That was tweeted out on the main EST account. You want for your business, for your home, for whatever.
Stickers.
It looks great.
Banners of any size.
There's different packages.
They got the Oilers logo on there. You know it's official. You know it's good. William Huff. Check them out. WilliamHuff.com if you're interested in that banner. Any various sizes, stickers, decals for your cup run as well. Jay, learn anything on the show this morning? Or I learned that it's going to be a nice couple of days here with you in that co-host chair.
I'm excited for that. I learned that Eric Macramalla is who you think he is.
First meeting between you two.
And he is the Egyptian prince, is what what does he say?
Well,
he's the Egyptian Kimmel. That's what I learned.
The Kimmel. That's
I
exactly.
learned that Eric Macramalla is the Egyptian Kimmel. I learned that when Mac T walks into a room and you're not expecting it, you still get chills down the spine. I learned that. Just saw him. Happened. For real.
Yeah, if you are just joining us, Craig McTavish and Sean Bell will be in the Hangout this morning alongside Matthew Iwanek and Tom Gazzola, getting you set for tonight, for tomorrow, and the Stanley Cup playoffs on the horizon as well. And they'll also have your next chance at that Vegas keyword coming up between 9 and 11 on the Hangout. Of course, we'll have it after on the Lock Shop as well. And Oil Stream today with Tommy. He'll be by doing that and have your keyword as well. Pretty much does it again. There will be no sound of the day as we are sitting on 371 likes. I said 400 and I'll play something. We didn't get there, and that's on you. So if we want to get something from the vault, I am up for it. I'll play whatever I want. I know when Dusty's away, it's like the parent taking the key to the
kids
liquor.
Will play.
The liquor cabinet, but I found the key. I know where the good stuff is hidden. So if we want to, it's day one. Let's get going for day two.
Let's
tomorrow.
Do it.
We recapping the Coyotes game, setting up Oilers and Avalanche tomorrow, and another keyword for Vegas, and Luke Gazdick and those dreamy eyes also on tomorrow's Thursday show. I want to take this time to thank YouTube Trev for keeping things always on the rails behind the monitors. Does a bang-up job back there.
Round of clicks for YouTube Trev.
And Glue Guy Jay Milne, thank you for coming in. Thank you for your time driving hours and hours from this morning. You pack a lunch and
left at midnight.
Didn't sleep. Just
Didn't sleep.
running off fumes here. So for these two great gentlemen, for myself, Lieutenant Eric, in for Dustin Nielson this week and half of next. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for likes. Thanks for the subs. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stick around. What is it? Autoplay? What does Dusty always say? Stick around. The autoplay will kick in and take you to the Hangout. That's coming up next. Once again, Matt Iwanek, Tom Gazzola, Mac T, Sean Bell. They got your Hangout 9 to 11 here on Edmonton Sports Talk.